Here at AF, we work hard to make sure we've got the facts to back up every accusation of chuddery, that we're entertaining every time we spotlight some fascistic film fandom flimflamer, culture vulture, Star Wars swindler, or comics conman. And by we, I mean me. And while I'm certainly not doing it for money, I do need to buy a new PC soon for continued editing and streaming. That's why I want to express my deep gratitude for my support on Patreon, from dopest members like William, Michael, and Smirking Gun. That's not to say that the members at the chillest and basest tiers are any less appreciated. But even if you can't swing it, you can follow me for free on Patreon and still get some exclusive content and opportunities to chat directly with me. YouTube makes us give every ounce of ourselves. Sometimes it feels like we're being milked dry. Support at any level is hits. Here's the thing.
It's the ever-loving blue-eyed thing. It's clobbering time.
You can really stop this kind of thing is to arouse public opinion. It's very upsetting. It has a bad moral effect.
Forced adversity.
Ask yourself, what's more terrifying? Fear or the frightened?
The facts of history and the aggressive impulses of an evil empire.
Bad, B-A-D-D, bothered about Dungeons and Dragons.
Up yours, woke moralists.
Socialism has spread the shadow of human regimentation over most of the nations of the earth.
And they're pushing identity politics with this. They 100% are.
How do you think homosexuals reveal themselves?
And the shadow is encroaching upon our own liberty.
I think there ought to be a law against them. Tonight I'm going to show you why.
Yes, tonight we're going to show you why. Why, there ought to be a law against, I don't know, stochastic terrorism. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. So, another light episode. Actually it's not. It's not going to be light at all. It's going to suck. We're going to talk about a sucky person, one of the suckiest. And in case you didn't notice it in the intro of the show, we've known since the beginning that we would have to talk about this person. It's right there, the old stupid friggin' symbol that she uses. It's there. We've known it. It's been like a fucking a specter over our heads this entire time. Yeah, and by we, by the way, by we, I mean the royal we, me and me, but also Morgan.
Yeah, she really is the sword of Damocles hanging over our head.
Okay, yeah. Look, sometimes it's like, well, not really. I was about to say, like, sometimes I wonder why I do this podcast. I really don't. There's never been a doubt that this is something that we need to be doing. But sometimes, whatever God or deity you believe in or don't or whatever, just says, hey, here's a little sign that, like, yeah, you're on the right track right now. And considering we had decided last week to finally do this this episode, and we'll get into why momentarily. But like, so it was already planned. It was what we were gonna do. Libs of Tik Tok. And then yesterday, just like some kind of shit manna from shit heaven. I don't know how to describe it.
It was a gift from Apollo to fulfill our need for the prophecy to come true and to give evidence to his prophecy that has been delivered unto me.
So yeah, Taylor Lorenz dropped an interview a little under an hour on YouTube with good old Kaya Rychik, Libs of Tik Tok herself. I think is that her preferred pronouns? Is that right?
I don't think she believes pronouns are real.
Okay. Well, we'll try and get around that.
She does seem to refer to herself as a her, so I guess we'll do as she does, not as she says.
Yeah.
Which is fitting for her because that's a lot of what she does.
Yeah, the stupidity of evil. Thank you, by the way, Byron. I mean, I'm kind of happy with it, although I wish I didn't have to name anything that.
Right. It would be. It is a nice title for the subject at hand.
Yeah, because like, man, yeah. Wait. I have a question that I posed to Morgan earlier, and we can talk about that later too. But before we do anything, really, we need to kind of establish that there is, there's cause to be cautious. All right.
So we took this scale right from the Bush administration.
This is the most advanced threat warning system ever devised by humanity. This is the fucking pinnacle of technology. And we just kind of adapted
2003.
Well, I mean, look, you could talk, people made fun of it, but we don't know how many terrorist attacks we didn't have because of this.
That's true. There's no way to know.
We can't.
We know we've had a few terrorist attacks inspired by tonight's special subject.
Well, I mean, you know that we well, although I was going to say we did stay terrified. You know what I mean?
We did stay terrified, yeah.
This is really kind of laid the groundwork for forever wars.
Yeah.
So good job on that, I guess.
For some definition of good. Have you ever watched Harvey Birdman?
Oh yeah, of course.
There's an amazing episode where the office institutes this sort of color-coded system, and then they have to go higher, so it's like the cover of a Rush album in like a plaid fabric swatch.
Yeah. What did we not say alleged about that we need to?
Oh, alleged. Okay. Yeah, well, everything is alleged.
Well, I mean, not really. I don't think we have to, because from what I understand, actually, is that unless we're doing it through one of the traditional media outlets, like a newspaper or some legacy media, or on through television airwaves or radio airwaves, which are, those are governed by the FCC. The internet is not. So you can kind of just say whatever the fuck you want, I think.
That seems to, unless you offend Google's censor bot.
Yeah, I mean, how many years did Alex Jones say the shit he said before they finally were just like, okay, we're gonna fucking. And that's only after there was like material harm done to the families and shit, like that could be observed and proven.
So there's how dumb the YouTube algorithm bot is, though. It let that go for years. But there's a podcast called Cognitive Dissonance, who like 2 weeks ago got their YouTube channel had a strike for misinformation, and the misinformation is this poem they read at the end of every episode. But just the one that week for that poem was misinformation that one time.
Oh.
But not all the other times. Just that
Weird.
once. Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, we should say, so I think we decided on high orange.
Yeah.
This is an orange level.
This is a threat code orange.
In that, it's just going to be some really fucking really stupid stuff, like stupid things said about trans people. But It is also stupid things that can be very fucking harmful to trans people to hear. And so, if it's something that you don't want to hear, you've already heard it, or you don't. It's just not your day to hear it. Whatever. Totally understand.
We're also going to end up talking about some white supremacy, some just broad homophobia today and in the past. What else do we got? Some police violence, some racism, sexualization of children.
Oh, all the hits.
We're playing all the hits today.
Yeah, because look, this is a special episode. It's a FAP News episode.
Yep.
Where everything you love is threatened by everything you don't understand. FAP News.
And we're here to help you understand because, you know, we like understanding. We like context.
Context is good, and you're going to see a shocking amount of it, especially once we get into looking at some of this interview. Like a almost like intentionally obtuse amount of lack of context. All right,
but I didn't say that.
I'm laughing because otherwise, I don't know.
I have this Mike's Hard Lemonade that is going to be my emotional support bottle for the next few hours.
Good call. Oh, and by the way, I do have some things. We can take pauses now and then. If you're in chat and you're like, man, we need to kind of take a break from this real quick. You know, just a momentary, like, take a step back and breathe. I've got some stuff, okay? And I'll give you an example of it now. I've got some George Lucas clips.
Ooh.
You know, I figured, like, what is like the least connected to today's subject that like has no, you know, just no relation whatsoever, and it's just like is fairly innocuous and even in some cases just kind of cute. Check this out.
And they use something they call pyro.
Wait, I forgot that I'm using an overlay, and I have to remove that before I can. Boop. Here we go. So this is where George Lucas just appeared randomly in the background of some documentary.
Oh, nice.
And they use something they call pyro processing. The interesting thing is they call it pyro processing, but it's a molten salt process. They're dissolving this thing in a molten salt, and they're doing electrochemistry on it. Why don't they call it molten salt? They want no association with molten salt because then it brings up another superior thing molten salt can do.
Yeah.
Goddamn cryptid.
And that guy had no idea. But later that night, when he's going through his footage, he's like, was that fucking George Lucas? Oh, man. All right.
God, that was beautiful.
So, you know, a little palate cleanser. There we go. If anybody needs to take a Lucas break, just say, hey, can we get a Lucas break?
Yep, just put Lucas break in chat, and we will happily appease you with the hottest Darth Flannel clips.
Or if you know something like let me give me that Georgie boy, or I want to see that neck waddle or something like that. Just we'll know what you mean.
Give me the flannel.
Yeah. All right. First of all, though, the reason that we decided to finally just we're gonna talk about this is Next Benedict, which now that I say it, it sounds like Eggs Benedict. And I wonder if that was intentional. I don't know.
I don't know.
But I do think it's a cool name nonetheless.
It's a rad name they picked for themselves, and like. It was hard seeing that they played Ark. Ark is my spouse's favorite game, and they play it hours a day.
That's cool. I don't know what it is.
It's a survival game where you get your character and you like wander around this wilderness, and it has like robots and dinosaurs and fucking aliens and shit.
Oh. Neat. And
you like build your base and you like tame creatures and stuff. And my spouse, they're fucking crazy for it.
Cool.
So like that was an extra gut punch in all of this. They seemed like they were a really brilliant kid. I think they had a 4.0 GPA. Family that loved them and
did not conform to expected, especially in Oklahoma, gender norms. And yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, baby. Yeah. So Ark is like if Pal World is more original. Okay.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. This is actually a brief edit that I made that's kind of special. I'm gonna just let it play here for a second. because here at the end of it, it's about how long is it? Oh, it's almost a minute. Yeah, so it's like, let's just take a moment of silence. When this moment of silence is over, you'll know.
That's
it's over
rad.
now. I just couldn't help but notice, but like in several of the photos, they were wearing the Slipknot hoodie. And I was like, okay, I gotta do something here.
That's totally understandable. Yeah, Julia, take care of yourself. This is going to be a rough one. Yep. We'll catch you on the next one.
That old that warning system came in handy. That's good.
Yep.
Yeah. Where are we going after that? Where we?
Well, I think we have
cleanser.
Yeah, I think so. Let's start with the annual tradition this year. I believe it is the year of the bub. That's
true. All right. So, okay. So the year of the bub, and I missed. I didn't talk about the last. So basically, I need to catch up on 2 issues of Sabretooth War as far as like things I want to talk about. There's stuff going on in other comics, seemingly at the same time, which doesn't make a lot of sense right now, but I'm not thinking about it too hard. Like, how is he doing a Sabretooth War when he's also doing like a invasion of Earth with other mutants? I don't know. Who knows? But
I think Sabretooth War is supposed to take place before.
Yeah, clearly.
The party.
Yeah, I think so. You're right. Well, no, because it's not, because remember they're hiding out in Antarctica or whatever the fuck, because that's where they ended up.
Yeah, I think it takes place like after they start hiding out there, but before they go to rescue Scott.
Okay. Yeah, I see. Yeah, fair enough. I do need to pull open an email that I sent myself from my my Kindle, actually, because it's got screenshots. So
yeah, for those who play Ark in the chat or in the Discord, my spouse actually runs a server. That's how much they're into it. So like it's a game I'm not all that interested in, but it is of family significance.
Sabretooth War's gotten kind of, it started off kind of brutal, and it has just kind of stayed that way. And look, they promised it. Benjamin Percy and Marvel marketing, they promised it was going to be pretty rough. And it is.
It fucking has been.
But kind of in the way that you want from a Wolverine story, especially Wolverine and Sabretooth. And so the Sabretooth is a character that, like, I've known who he was as long as I've known who Wolverine was. But I never... the rivalry was always just taken for granted for me. Like, I never really fully understood, like, why, other than, okay, he's a psychotic, sociopathic, fucking, just like a crazy ass killer. That's who Sabretooth is. Okay, that was kind of enough for me, right?
Like I always figured he was obsessed with Wolverine, but like the why was never all that important to me.
Yeah, really, it wasn't, and it could have stayed that way probably forever. But this most recent issue, kind of really just like opened it up for me, and I'm like, oh my god, really? Oh god, it's that's what it is, isn't it? And it seems kind of obvious now, but like, yeah, we'll get there in a second. I'm just got 2 more images to download, and then just wanted to show from the previous issue of it. Before that, though, there was just a couple of moments that were really cool, I think. Some Wolverine doing some Wolverine shit that, like, that's why he's the man. So yeah, they had kidnapped Laura, taken her. They'd also the Sabretooths, the Sabermouth.
The Sabermouth, yeah, I think is what I've been going with for the Legion of Sabreteeth.
Yeah, they'd taken her, and then they'd killed several people.
Yeah.
I can't even remember who all. I know they killed Quentin. I know they killed
Fang.
Yeah. Who else? There's a bunch of lesser knowns that were hanging around. I think that they got.
I don't think they got Black Tom. I
No,
don't think they got Sage.
No, or at least not at first. But yeah, no. So here's Wolverine. He's kind of like reminiscing about his kids, this is kind of sad, man. And this is after they had, of course, strung him up. Sorry, I'm not actually showing it yet. They had strung him up. God damn it, Gordy! Really do that right now?
Gordy's needy.
I don't know why he does that. I don't know why he does that. You know, maybe he just likes to go the extra mile, I suppose. I mean, he did send him like a message, like a literal message written in body parts. That's how he kicked off this year's festivities.
Yep, with a happy birthday written in people's body parts, like you do.
So you can't really see it too well here, but they cut off his, or no, they fucked him up really bad.
Yeah.
Right? And then they hung him up, and he can smell this coppery stink of the slaughter, so he knows that they're in there killing some other people. He is just kind of coming to terms with things, and this is something that if you're someone that's had a lot of trauma in your life, and then you kind of like, even if not, you just kind of have to come to terms when things are different suddenly, right? Like there's a moment where you're like, oh my God, things are really different. They can't go back to the way they were. This is what it is now. Acceptance is important, and so he's reminiscing, right? Like, because him and Akira had gotten kind of close for whatever version of that they have. But I mean, of course, him and Laura, they're actually close. She's pretty special to him. And so he's just in here hanging out, and he's like, well, I'm fucked, how do I get free? Well, he figures out a way.
Yep.
Oh, I want to show this one first, because that's actually really just a kind of iconic, cool ass image of Wolverine. Reminds me of that that infamous cover of him crucified on the X.
Oh, okay.
You seen that one?
I've seen the cover. I don't know what it's from, but I've seen the art. Yeah.
It's a Jim Lee cover from like '89, I think.
Nice.
X-Men.
Oh, they must have whacked Omega Red, because that looks like his like tentacle things.
Oh yeah. You know who it was that did it back then? It was the Reavers. I think that might have been the first appearance of the Reavers. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Those fuckos. Oh, nice comic, comedian. It's the first comic you read.
Oh, really?
That's
cool.
Oh,
nice. Was I right?
Julia's...
Oh, was it Silvestri? Julia's hanging around. Gonna risk it. Okay. Well, we'll let you know whenever we get into the meat of the episode. But I should have shown this first. This is whenever he first freaking showed up and found, there's Akiro's freaking, that's him. That's his son.
Yeah, that's Akiro.
Spelling out happy birthday for him. And he, of course, he loses his shit. But except he's got a bunch of saber teeth there for him. It's meeting him.
What's weird, what freaks me out is a bunch of them are like headless robots, though.
Yeah.
Fucking freaks me out. Uh-huh.
Okay. Sorry, I had to take a bite of food.
Hey, food's important.
And then we get to hear where he decides, okay, I can't just hang here. I gotta get the fuck down. He knows he's gonna heal. But yeah.
I don't need those anyways.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
He's still got the claws.
Yeah.
He's still got the adamantiums there and stuff. He's gonna have to grow that shit back, but like for now he doesn't have time.
Right.
There's no time. Don't you hate that whenever you got shit to do and you're just like, got no time to grow my, extremities back?
I don't know what that's like actually. Mine I just get the one set.
Well, so basically and this is just picture. No, they're not.
I don't believe so. No.
It's not a dumb question. It's been over the years. It's been hinted that they were brothers, that Sabretooth was his father, that and then they've been real cagey with it because they couldn't really decide. That's true. They could always Yeah, but anyway, I just love this because here he is. He's been running down the hallway on his stubs.
Oh my god! Like,
and that's just Wolverine right there. You know what I mean? Like he
yeah.
ain't gonna, you didn't go far enough to stop him. You
Nope.
You cut off his, you hung him up there, and then he had to cut off his feet and hands to get down. But like, it's still, he's coming for you, dude.
Right. When has that stopped him before?
I love that shit. Okay, so to the thing today about Sabretooth in particular. All right. So that was in part 3 or 4, I think. I'm not sure. So the most recent issue of Sabretooth Wars opens with flashback to the old task force was Team X. What's it called? Team X? Task Force X?
Task Force X is the Suicide Squad in DC.
Okay. What was this
called?
called?
I don't remember what Wolverine's...
It's similar.
Yeah, it's something X because... Of course it is.
Team X, something like, whatever. There were a bunch of Weapon X guys that were kind of government, controlled Weapon X guys. You got Maverick, you got Sabretooth, different people over the years. So this is Sabretooth reminiscing. And he's talking about, people talk about the good old days. Nostalgia is one hell of a drug. I'm immune to every narcotic there is, except maybe that one. Nicaragua, years back, just another routine Team X delivery. That's what it was supposed to be.
Oh my god.
I can still smell all the spilled blood and nitroglycerin. Good times. That's Sabretooth just thinking about the good old days.
Just, committing some light slaughter in Nicaragua.
Mm-hmm. And then it kind of comes back to where he's dealing with this. The reason he's reminiscing is because he's got all these Sabretooths that are working with him. Man, they're just not cooperating. Like, can you imagine?
Well, like, okay, if I were Sabretooth, there's one person I would never want to cooperate, and that's with myself. Fucking hate that guy.
So, yeah, they're fighting. He's got to establish dominance probably every 5 minutes. One of them kind of gets smart, decides that they, because really none of them want to do this like psychological aspect of this shit with Logan.
No.
And it makes you wonder, like, is this the only universe where Sabretooth has that specific, like that much deep hatred for him or what? I don't know.
It must be like there's the one good Sabretooth, and that's the one from Age of Apocalypse and Exiles, where he's like just kind of chill. Don't give Sinister any ideas, Julia.
No, it's actually so in the after he got sent down into the Krakoa to be imprisoned under Krakoa, a bunch of stuff happened. Essentially, his son Graydon Creed was going through the multiverse killing Sabretooths. And that basically gave an opportunity for him, and he escaped more or less. And he gathered up some others. A bunch of saber teeth came together to form a saber mouth. And then you got Laura here. She's watching. She's like paying attention. Like there's some politics going on right here that she's studying.
Right.
They're ripping each other apart, but there's something else going on. She can use it. Back to reminiscing here toward the end. It's the end of the issue. Miami. And he's saying, they're going to arrest us as soon as we reach port. And as you can see, it's Logan and Sabretooth. And they're just guns out, suns out in more ways than one. So he's like, yeah, so we'll be out in an hour. And our cargo will already be on its way to Los Angeles. This doesn't feel like a good covert op to me. And he says, ours is not to question why, which is what he told one of the other Sabretooth earlier.
Right.
And so basically it ends with this, just like this highlight reel. This is Sabretooth again, reminiscing. He says, war is truth. War is love. I was truly myself back then. And so was he. Everyone else might buy his noble warrior routine, but if that's what he wants to be, oh, sorry, it got a little blurrier than I expected it to. If that's what he wants to be, then why is he so damn sad all the time? It's because he misses who he used to be together. Breaking him down, getting back to the real Logan. I'm doing him a favor. And if he can't change, he'll be better off dead.
Yeesh.
And I just sat there with it this is like the last thing in the issue, and I'm like, holy shit, that's fucked up. Like, this is, and there are people like that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That think that they
people like that, not to this extreme, but like that.
No, obviously not to the literal actions taken, but like that think that they know what's better for you. That like, you may think you're happy, but like things were better, whenever we used to. Like, for instance, I've known people that thought that way about, like I used to be into partying and doing some drugs and shit like that, and there are people that will get mad at people for getting clean and sober.
Yep.
And they'll like try to fucking sabotage that for them. It's like they can't understand what being happy is, or even not necessarily being happy, because I wouldn't characterize Logan as happy, but like not being beholden to your worst instincts and not doing shit to make the world a shittier place, and
right.
Not doing things to make your soul, so to speak, a little bit shittier all the time. Can't understand that. So like, it must not be real, right? So like, I'm gonna do him a favor and bring him back to what I know he really misses it, just like I do, kind of thing. And that's fucked up.
This level of, I know what's good for you, and the more you fight me, the more violence I'm going to do to you and those around you for your own good. And yeah, it does sound like a bad partner.
Mm-hmm. Could be a girlfriend or them friend too.
Yeah. I had a friend like that was like, I don't want to go into it. Well, it's a funny story for another day. They tried to stab me. It was a good time. The story ends very happily.
Isn't this the one that ends with you and your spouse meeting or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Starts with stabbing, ends with love.
It ends with love, yeah, Sometimes to find love, the first step is to not get stabbed. That's what I always say.
Now imagine being the kind of asshole that, based on nothing but your own, I guess, like kind
perception.
of just, but fucked up perception. Like you basically have nothing. Yeah. It's just like your feelings of things, right? That you have decided that what other people are doing with their life is bad, no good. And that not, instead of just like accepting, okay, well, they're going to do their thing, whatever, which is what you should do if you just like are determined to disagree with somebody's life. You have to, like, you decide that you're going to be someone who, I don't know, campaigns against those people. You know where I'm going with it. I'm doing a segue.
And that segue is to talk about Anita Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you thought we were going to talk about somebody else first. Oh, no. We have to talk some history.
Mm-hmm.
So, while we would, like to get into it, before we can talk about terrorist, insurgent, Oklahoma State official, and hospital bombing enthusiast Chaya Rychek, we have to talk about a singer from Oklahoma. Before we can talk about Libs of Tik Tok, we have to talk about Save Our Children Incorporated and its founder, Anita Bryant. Anita is a musician, model, and religious bigot who in the 70s led a well-funded campaign against community laws decriminalizing being homosexual and cross-dressing in public, and prohibiting discrimination against LGBT folks. Her campaign, called Save Our Children, was the recipient of funding and media attention from entrenched religious groups, which it used to spread propaganda about the LGBT community being responsible for things such as child pornography, recruitment of minors, and living in defiance of God. Attention from the mainstream media was at best in callous disregard for the rights and lives of queer Americans, and at worst willing to indulge in the publication of fear-mongering in the guise of just asking questions while giving an uncritical platform to Bryant, her financiers, and her allies. Her campaign led to violence against LGBT Americans and emboldened the KKK. Her success was further fueled by a lack of activism from heterosexual liberals and a campaign to paint all homosexuals and their allies as child molesters. As the religious right hooked its wagon to her train, it gained popularity among Republicans. Among them, Ronald Reagan, who opposed their activities in California just a few years earlier as being an overreach of government. By the time he became president, the influence of the so-called moral majority encouraged the federal government to allow the AIDS pandemic to ravage America as a plague sent by God. And so for those who have been convinced that trans folks or queer folks or immigrants are some emergent threat by today's Christian nationalist movement, I have a quote from an old family Bible. What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. Everything Chaya has done, it's happened before. In the 70s and in the 80s. It's history. And too few people have learned from that. And too few people are willing to stand against the consequences. And I think with that, that brings us to Libs of Tik Tok.
Yeah. And I just wanted to add that you quoted the Bible there. I wanted to quote a more believable source of fiction.
Sure.
All of this has happened before, and all of this will happen again. Battlestar Galactica.
Battlestar Galactica. Yeah.
Although I prefer to quote from the finale, but does it all have to happen again?
Oh, there you
Instead
go.
of all of it will happen again, right? The
Right.
question of does it have to? It doesn't have to. No. We just haven't learned yet. And yeah, so what haven't we learned? That.
So say we all.
So say we all. There are people who, well, you know what we can start with is we can start with the question of what is evil, right?
That's a good question. I mean, because Libs of Tik Tok seems to have an idea of what evil is. I'm going to stop calling her that. Her name is Chaya. We should call her by her name. I think there is something about using a screen name or a branding handle that gives someone cover and sort of dehumanizes their activities in a way that excuses them.
Yeah, well, I mean, and has she done anything really wrong yet? Well, let's get into that.
Let's get into that. Let's start there.
We'll start with Next.
Let's start with Next.
There is some there might be some stuff to come out of that's just not going to be easy information to grapple with, and indicates something more insidious. But we don't. It's neither here nor there. It's still pretty early on. Nonetheless, we know for a fact that Next Benedict was a 16-year-old non-binary kid who, parents were just recently, kind of like coming around to being supportive and stuff, but they were being supportive, and had been being bullied for a while at school, and then apparently these three older kids, girls, where they were in the bathroom with these kids, some sort of confrontation happened that was, seemingly, based on what we understand, continuation from events that have happened prior to, probably months, weeks prior to, and then it kind of culminated with Next having their head beaten into the floor a good bit of times, apparently, and then
they were beaten into unconsciousness, which if you don't know, in movies and stuff, people get knocked out all the time and are kind of fine. But in the real world, when someone gets knocked out, often it is a sign that they have suffered a traumatic brain injury.
Yeah. Well, so then obviously the thing to do whenever somebody gets knocked unconscious is to immediately call paramedics.
Yeah. That is,
I mean, anybody understands that. Like anybody. Yeah. Even the faculty at a freaking high school in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
You would think. But that's not what they did.
That's not what they did.
So yeah, I'm not sure what the timeline was, but I know that they didn't immediately call, and that the what was it? Did Next go on their own later? Is that what happened?
They went the next day.
Okay.
They were suspended from school. I believe their grandmother took them home. And then when the next day they were having issues and they were taken to the hospital and they died.
So bye Julia. Have a good night. Okay, I'm finished eating now, so I can.
Okay.
Sorry, I just hadn't really eaten much today.
Oh, no, eating is important. Always eat. Make sure you eat. You know, I'm bad at that, so I like to encourage others to be better than me at that.
And drink water. Hydrate.
Hydrate.
Yeah. So why is it relevant that this took place in Oklahoma? Why is it relevant to Kaya? Well, because so the superintendent of schools in Oklahoma, some fucking culture war ass clown, you know, he's big, I guess, Libs of Tik Tok fan.
Yeah.
Let me open these sources of info that I have instead of just kind of going from memory. There's that one. And this one.
Lucifer, there's a lot of disinformation out there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We're gonna get to the worst of it in a bit. I think you bring up NBC News, and this is not planned on. I didn't know that was where you were going to go to, but in general, NBC News is one of the better mainstream news places to get good information on how conservative movements are targeting queer people.
Yeah, they're still doing old school journalism with, like, you know, integrity to a degree and shit like that. You know, that doesn't mean that they're always going to get it right or that they won't, you know, fall on the wrong side of shit sometimes. And,
right, but they are, you know, compared to like the New York Times, which, funnily enough, in the same way they've given cover to the trans panic, and to Chaya, they gave cover to Anita Bryant, back in the 70s, and this almost in the exact same way.
Under the Desk, I don't know what that is. So I mean,
I've
so the reason that we're
Dragon.
Reason we're going with this is because it is like as primary a source really as possible to a degree.
Yeah.
And that sounds like maybe somebody that's doing commentary on news, and that's not to say that that's not valid. And it's good to have trusted commentary on, because there's a lot of news and a lot of context that needs to be put into it, and sometimes we don't have the ability to do that ourselves. That's why we go to commentary people. But yeah, this is just kind of like laying out the basics.
Sounds good, Dragon.
Oh, okay. That is true. This is a normalized violent stage. And I mean, honestly, there's kind of been in that stage. Like, I don't know that it would have, you know, when you think about, if you've ever heard the phrase, what you call it? The less dead.
Yeah.
As far as you know, it's a colloquial term. It's kind of like a kind of gallows humor kind of term that, like, sex workers, people of color, especially like black women sex workers, You know what I mean?
Houseless
Like, or
people.
houseless people, or gay sex workers, that type of thing. Like those types of people, when they get murdered historically, there's not the resources put into solving it, or if they're just disappeared and they're not, it's not known if they're dead or not. The resources that they don't put the energy into it as the same as they would as if like a blonde high school valley girl or whatever went missing, where it's like, oh my god, we got to throw everything at this. So they're less dead is the term that's used in like kind of crime circles, I suppose. And yeah, so I mean, in that way, like it's I guess we're more exposed to these incidents happening, but it's always kind of been that like society is not chosen to care as much, it seems like.
There is a race and class element to the normalization of violence, but I think we've reached a level where now it was one thing before where, for instance, some of my family members, so when that immigrant family got shredded by the razor wire in the Rio Grande, they didn't care that they died, but they didn't celebrate it. It was just neutral background noise, where now I think, and that wasn't even that long ago, but I think there is a increasing segment of the population that doesn't just take it as granted or as acceptable, they celebrate it. And I think that's a different level of normalization we reach. Not that the other one was good by any stretch of the imagination, but we have moved to a point where there's a segment of our population that celebrates the deaths of immigrants and queer folks.
And indigenous people, like I know that's a problem in Canada. It's a problem here too.
Yeah.
In fact, I mean, it's a TV show, but it's a very good TV show, and it addressed this issue of True Detective. Night Country just ended not long ago. And it was pretty fucking good. It had to do with kind of centered around an indigenous girl who had been murdered, and then a few years before, but then kind of came back around as being irrelevant.
Yeah.
But yeah,
one of the things with Nex's death is their family is native. I believe they lived on the res, or their grandma lived on the res. And they were somewhat involved in their tribe. Their chief had been supportive. And violence against natives, I think a lot of people don't know. It's easy to not pay attention to, but there is definitely areas in this country that are near reservations because they are areas where poverty is enforced by state authority, right? That like, because the tribal reservations exist as these semi-sovereign areas that can only do like what they can do, how they can make money is regulated by the federal government. And by federal laws passed centuries, or not centuries ago, but often over a century ago. They're not exactly wealthy areas. And so there is this class and race issue that comes up of places near reservations seeing the indigenous people who live there or come from there as being poor, as being all the usual things you would see as far as racial epithets and anti-poor epithets thrown at people. People call them dirty, etc. So I don't know this. It hasn't been talked about with Nex's case, but there's a chance that there's a racial component to this too. That I think needs maybe not being addressed as a separate issue, but as an issue that is part of it, or as just being acknowledged and understood that it could play into this.
Very well could. Yeah. Let's see. Do we need
George
break?
George it.
George.
We're taking a George break.
Yeah, doing a George. All right.
The creator of Mara Jade.
Wait! I am not the creator of Mara Jade, and I want you to get out of this office right now.
I'm sorry, Zed.
No way.
You brought
no
it on
way.
You brought it on yourself.
I don't want you here.
I'm so sorry, George. I didn't think it would go like this.
Out.
Ted, I got your voucher.
What the fuck? What the actual
I'm
fuck?
so sorry. We'll have him like burned and well,
I don't even
executed
know
and
who
burned.
that guy is. So I sit there all day long.
Yeah. You look. Don't accuse the guy of creating characters he didn't create. Okay.
Timothy Zahn created Mara Jade, if anyone's wondering.
Now that was from that was like a thing that was shot when they were doing the Robot Chicken Star Wars stuff. That he actually worked pretty closely with them to make.
That's awesome.
Which really, in hindsight, should have been a sign that he was kind of like in the end stage of giving a shit about Star Wars. Like he's like, yeah, fuck it, we'll let this stupid show do some dumb jokes about it. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, Paul, if you weren't here earlier, every so often throughout this episode, we're going to take George breaks.
Yeah.
Mostly so that I don't cry.
Yeah, there's, it's a heavy subject matter, so we got to do George break. I mean, otherwise, we can do this one. Got that?
Yeah, Zahn also created Thrawn.
True.
And Luke Skywalker, subject of a Great Force Adversity episode you should check out.
Yeah, Luke. I actually don't have a whole lot of George clips. I could grab some more. I'm sure I could find some more, but we've already used 2/3 of them. So.
Well, we'll have to be judicious with that last George clip.
It is pretty good, but it's like it's only the very last like couple seconds of it where it's like, oh shit. Anyway. So you might notice here in this article that I was showing, this is Oklahoma, right? Oklahoma. Yep. Okay. The education department's library media advisory committee. She's been placed on that. She's an advisor. But she's not an Oklahoma resident. And as she said we're going to watch some of this interview that dropped yesterday. And in that interview, she says, yeah, I've been there once. Been to Oklahoma once.
She lives in New York. She has no children in public school. I don't think she has children.
Okay, so then we're gonna also get into some of the specific things that she loves to repeat.
Yeah.
So this is a quote from Douchey McAssface, or whatever the fuck his name is. I don't care. The guy that
Ryan
Oklahoma,
Dick Weasel.
Yeah, that's it. State Superintendent Ryan Dick Weasel Walters. Kaya is on the front lines, showing the world exactly what the radical left is all about: lowering standards, porn in schools, and pushing woke indoctrination on our kids. Because of her work, families across the country know just what is going on in schools around the country.
So I would like to point out that as far as lowering standards in school and lowering education standards, that's been let me check my notes here. Yeah, that's been a goal of the conservative movement, is to undermine the success of public education across the country. So not the radical left and porn in schools. No, not happening.
Well,
I mean, if there is porn in schools, you know what it is Dan, you were a young man once, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I was a young person once. My first exposure to porn was actually in high school. I went to a Christian high school for the first couple of years. The first porn I ever saw was handed to me in a Christian high school, in gym class, by another boy.
Yep. I mean, it's amazing how they think that, like, if it wasn't for gay people or whatever, that like these kids would never even know about any of this sex stuff while they're in school. It's crazy.
It's just like intentional obtuseness. These are people who know better. They know they're full of shit.
So, yeah, one of the books that she lists off as being porn, like this is porn to her. I bought the book because I wanted to see, maybe it's bad. Like, I definitely think there is stuff that shouldn't just be available to just all ages in schools. Like, absolutely. And nobody really fucking thinks that there's other than that, right? Anybody that thinks that kids should just be able to access like literal fucking, pornography or whatever is like a fucking crazy person, and they're not just somebody with any kind of power or anything like that. And it's just such a cartoonish straw man that it's honestly upsetting that the right has made so much fucking headway with it. So what is pornography?
I'll know it when I see it.
Yep, that's it. That's famously what I forget what his name is. He's a Supreme Court justice.
Supreme Court justice, yeah.
He said, well, I don't know how to just define it, but I'll know it when I see it. And that's kind of what it is. It's like, first of all, let's talk about genderqueer. That's the most banned book. I think it's still it was one of the top few most banned books in the U.S. Right? By was it Maya Cobaid? I think it is, something like that.
I do not know.
It's a book by I believe she's see, I should have brushed up on this because I don't want to get it wrong. I say she, but I don't even know that's what it is. I think it's,
let's find out.
Gender nonconforming. I know that. How about that? And the book is about their experience. I'll just use their as a safety. About their experience growing up and kind of figuring things out. And it is a book that is explicitly stated by the author to be written like the people that they had in mind when they wrote it was their parents. They're an adult now, but they hadn't come out fully to their parents as, what their identity really is. And so they wrote this book, and it's targeted, like on the book, it's for ages 16 and up. Okay. This book has not been in any elementary or even junior high school libraries, just easily accessible to kids to just grab and go, apparently it's been in a handful of teachers' personal collections that they can make available to kids. So kids have to ask for it, I suppose.
Right.
So that's as far as that's gone. But that becomes they're teaching porn, or they're teaching, the stuff. And never mind the fact that the thing that's in the book, the couple of images that are in it that they've got so upset about. One of them is, I should just grab the images because just describing them isn't even going to do it justice. You're going to think it's more graphic than what it even is if I don't show it to you. You know what I mean? Like it's
when I first saw someone sent me something, or shared something with me that was like oh, you don't think this is porn? And I'm like, it's like a sketch with like low detail.
Yeah.
It's like a textbook. And I'm just like, this is a textbook. This is a textbook. What?
So let's see. These are, this is actually, I guess. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, are the images YouTube safe? Paul is asking. I don't actually know.
They are. Yes, that's the thing. That's like I made the joke. I was like, I should just name this stream "Let's Look at Pornography." Okay, because we're gonna be able to look at these images, and it's gonna be fine. And that should tell you everything you need to know. If it was pornography, I wouldn't show you this stuff. So this is the level of detail that we're looking at. This is the level of detail of the book. Every single drawing is about this level of detail. Oh my God, that's not very detailed. And so, it does talk about some stuff that, like, look, kids that are teenagers deal with these issues. And, I don't think, and it really goes, there's one aspect of this book that shows you that it's not just about, queer stuff, right? Because it also talks about Maya getting their period for the first time. And it shows a drawing, like an image that they drew for the book, of, I guess, like it's like a used sanitary product.
hygiene product, yeah.
And it, it's properly looks like you're like, oh, I don't want to see that. But that's one of the images it's also bandied about, is like, look at this, look what they're showing kids, this is disgusting. And it's like, okay, yeah, it is gross to me, but like I don't think me and you mean it in the same way. You know what I mean?
Like it's not.
They mean it in the same way that, like, oh, you sleep in the shed while you're having your moon.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It is you're unclean and you can't come into the religious facility.
Right.
Yeah.
It's only pornography if it comes from the porn region of France.
Otherwise, it's sparkling nudes.
That's true. They do think that because they are stupid, very stupid fucks.
They're not very smart people.
So, yeah, they know what a porn is. The pornography is images of human sexuality that have no purpose other than sexual stimulation. I think that's probably the most simplistic and also effective definition you could give it. Really,
sure.
Because, yeah, I mean, and then so the stuff in these books are like in this type of book is literally about the experience of a kid trying to make their way in the world and understand these things in ways that, like, these are hard things for a kid to deal with. It's hard for a kid to deal with sexuality, even if it's just like a straight cis kid.
Right. Well, it doesn't help that, like, so much of the country doesn't want to tell things they learn the hard way, right? Like, I don't think I heard my parents describe their good and bad romantic experiences, if we can call it that, until I was engaged to be married. It was like, this sounds like something you should have told young me, not this me.
So I think we're about to get to one of the offending images here.
I'm going to be offended.
Well, there it is. Oh my God. Oh my God.
That's
oh my God.
Wow, that is a picture of a child.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh.
And it's literally about the experience that they had, and not because of the way they were raised. They just would swim with their shirt off with their brothers or whatever, and
right, yeah.
Then they go to the public beach for the first time, and this is what happened. It's like, oh, look, they had no idea. So yeah, that was that experience.
Well,
and it's like, why? I don't
just
get
need
it.
to put it back on now. We can't tell you why.
Yeah. I didn't feel I'd done anything wrong. Well, because you hadn't really.
You hadn't, yeah.
But this is adults putting their weird fucking, shit. It's like, you want to have the conversation about should older girls and women, that's one conversation. But like, I don't know. It's
just look how weird they get about breastfeeding.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's like, how dare you feed your child in public? Like, what the fuck? Hey, why are you looking? Right? Like, oh, she's breastfeeding. Oh, okay. Anyways.
Like, this is this is an experience that a person had, and this is what's banned. Like, this is not pornography by any stretch of the imagination. And then so like there is the one scene that's like whenever they getting older, because they kind of go through their life in chronological order. Mm-hmm. And when they get older and they start experimenting sexually, and there's first they try boys, didn't really like that. Then they try girls, didn't really like that either. Liked it somewhat better for certain reasons, but like basically so there's a scene, I guess you call it, panel. Sure. where the girl that they're dating tries a strap on.
Oh, okay.
And it is a completely non-descript, like non-detailed, just a phallic thing that that's like shows them putting it on. Yeah, thank you, Paul. Yes. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
It's that's what I'm saying. Like, even the sanitary product thing, that moment is like not something that's something that a cis girl would experience, and like they still didn't want that.
Right.
It's like something that literally over 50% of the population is going to experience, and like no,
Nope, can't.
it's disgusting. You can't have kids knowing about that, even though kids are fucking living it.
They're gonna find out, right? Like, it's
Even
enforced ignorance. It's like
Yeah.
we're going to make you as ignorant and unprepared for this as possible.
So that's one of the most cited ones, right? That, okay? And I can tell you, the other ones aren't any different, really. I mean,
Right.
it's just like the one that in the interview, Kaya actually brings it up herself. She pulls it up on her phone to show Taylor, because she keeps saying pornography, and Taylor's like, "What do you mean by that pornography?" She's like, "Here, I'll show you." She fucking pulls it up, and she's like, "What? What does that look like to you?" She's like, "Well, it's like a little doodle of less detail and more of a cartoon design
Right.
than even that we just looked at." And it's like a naked man, and his penis is like, as Taylor describes, it's an upside down U. And that's it. That is it. And like yeah. So point being that we're kind of all over the place here, because that's how we do this show apparently. But
Sometimes, yeah.
especially this one. So after the reason why it's so egregious, other than she calls this shit porn,
right?
That Kaya is now in that position, and she's also just followed by over 2 million people on Twitter, because she's ironically banned from the platform that is in the name of her account.
Right. She actually can't be on. I mean, I'm sure she has sock puppets on there, but her primary account, I believe, was banned.
Oh yeah, she's got a staff now apparently, which is fucking terrifying. But so this is the thing. After Libs of Tik Tok posts, there are bomb threats. You know, and like I remember covering this whenever it happened with Matt Walsh in the Boston Children's Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Walsh did a segment where he said that Boston Children's Hospital are saying that every kid that's born there is trans. And it's like, what? They clearly, obviously, like, you don't have to check that to know that that's not what they fucking said. You know, like, and that's, of course, that's not what they said. They didn't say anything really like that. But yeah, then after he said that, though, you started getting bomb threats at the children's hospital, because that's what you do when you care about kids, guys. When you care about children, and you know that there's a place that might be doing something bad to children, you threaten to bomb that place that has children in it. That's fucking genius, you know? Like,
and then it keeps happening, right? It's not like, okay, so like, hey folks, hi. If we did this episode and 21 people from Dane's audience were to threaten to bomb someone, I would be like, hey, we gotta have a fucking conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We would do a very special episode about like, hey, what the fuck?
No, can I tell you something? I think stochastic violence is the goal of like a lot.
Oh yeah.
Many conservatives on social media these days.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'd say it's the I've got an example of Jeremy Griggs from whenever fucking the turf game came out. Turf video game. J.K. Rowling game.
Oh, Dollar Store Dragon Age, yeah.
Yeah. When that came out, there was a what was it, Wired maybe, or I don't remember what outlet had they reviewed it, and it was apparently a trans person that reviewed it. And Jeremy Griggs, you know, in defense of this game, he decides he's going to show this person's picture. He went and found it. You know, it wasn't part of the review or anything.
You know what I think it was? I think it was the GameSpot review, because Jessie Gender works for them, and I think she did the review.
It wasn't because
okay, because I know she did the review, and I know she got some.
Oh yeah, I have no doubt. But I mean, yeah. This was a different
Somebody
person.
else,
I remember the image and the name were not Jessie's.
Okay,
but like, you know, and it's somebody that honestly, you know, I mean, I guess it's somebody that would be, you know, somebody that would be, I guess, a candidate for mockery by these motherfuckers just by seeing the picture, right? And I guess that's the best way I can describe it without, I don't know, but like,
yeah.
And that's, Jeremy knew that. Jeremy Griggs knows that whenever he posts the photo and says the name and says, look, this is who fucking reviewed it. You know what I mean? Like, what reason do you have to show the photo
other than to generate harassment, right? That's the plan.
Yep. John, I mean, look, man, your opinion of Jesse is not fucking relevant right now, to be honest. Like, I mean, that's not.
We're not talking about Jesse tonight.
We're not doing we're also not doing like here's our little opinions on content creators. That's really not the topic. So, yeah. He identifies himself as theocratic fascist. Well, guess what? Kaya, proudly, the label she takes on herself.
Stochastic terrorist.
Stochastic terrorist. She did for a while. She doesn't anymore, I don't think.
Oh,
I think
she down.
I think she realized that maybe that is a bridge too far. Like that you shouldn't, maybe, even if it's, she's being ironic or whatever, think she's being ironic. Probably because she doesn't know what words mean. But then like probably somebody was like, actually, you probably shouldn't, because that could potentially contribute to you getting some kind of charges eventually or something. Who knows?
Right. If you describe yourself that way and then something happens, at the very least, there could be a civil lawsuit. Like, you might have trouble getting a prosecutor to sort that out, but like.
Yeah. You know what? Yes, that's actually, I'm sorry. I can't, you got people making more points about this, and I do need to get back to it because John Redmond, I mean, I know you've been around for a long time and in my chat and stuff. You're not here consistently though. So I just want to make sure you know that, like, priorities, man, we're talking about trans people being harassed and threatened and so on and so forth.
And killed.
And killed. Yes. And in particular, we were talking about Jesse receiving harassment, and your response to that is, oh, she's so smug. And never mind the fact that, like, as Bob says here, doesn't mean she's wrong.
Right.
Smugness, in my experience, often has something to do with the person perceiving the smugness. I definitely think that condescension often does. People who, they're being condescending. It's like, oh no, you feel condescended to, maybe. I think that's something that happens a lot. Anyway.
I mean, we're going to be very condescending all night long. And yeah, deal. Sorry. Yeah. Anywho.
So, sorry. Just need to kind of get clear the chamber on that one. So yeah, the fact is that Kaya had already posted about a teacher that worked at the very high school that Next Benedict went to. Was actually a teacher of Nexus at one point. And I don't know the details behind that, essentially, or like what the teacher was said that was posted about or whatever it was, but the teacher ended up quitting, I think, or getting fired or something like that, because, so
I have seen mixed reports on that.
This is a high school where, and not just this high school, but with the superintendent of the school board or whatever being who he is. This is an environment that's been cultivated that is essentially cool with, if not encouraging of, the harassment of trans kids, and the belittling, the devaluing of trans kids' experiences.
Well, it seems like how their school resource officer and the school handled a medical issue, like someone being knocked out. Like it seems like they don't care, right? Like that's a feature, not a bug. That these kids being not discouraged from engaging in bullying is a feature, not a bug.
And I don't know if it's rule 1, and I don't think that's entirely true that you can't pick your allies, but I definitely think that
you can pick your enemy.
You can picking your allies based on how smug they are maybe isn't the best idea. You should pick. The fact is that Jesse is effective. Jesse has a large ass audience.
Yeah, she's bigger than us, right?
By orders of magnitude. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah. So where do we go from here? What are we doing?
I think we got to talk about the cops.
Okay.
I think we got to. So a couple days ago, the police department in that town released a statement that while the autopsy wasn't complete, they were putting out a statement that this wasn't that no one was responsible for this death. Effectively, The family has already said they want to get their own private autopsy done, which is not cheap, because they made this statement before the actual official autopsy report was completed. And if this sounds familiar to you, this is the same thing that happened in Minnesota with George Floyd.
Yeah.
Same playbook.
That somehow the police are able to say, at the same time, they can say, well, we're not finished with our autopsy and everything. We're not finished with the examination. However, we can say for sure that whatever violence occurred at school is not the cause of death, but we're also not finished with the autopsy.
Right.
Which anybody can see how patently fucking absurd those two statements are, trying to make them both at the same time. That's what they did. And yeah. And then, I was talking with somebody, I don't know if he wants me to say his name about it, but like, he was saying, he's like, man, seems kind of conspiratorial to say that, and before he even finished, I was like, no, it's not conspiratorial, because if it was another state, if it wasn't who the school superintendent of the school wasn't who this guy is, and if he hadn't hired who he had hired, maybe it would be a bit more of a reach to say that, there'd be more speculation, I'd say, to be like, sounds kind of funny, like some weird stuff going on. But this almost seems like you have to consider that as a possibility. Considering,
we've seen it's a pattern. It's a recognizable pattern of behavior too. Like we've seen this play before, right? Like, we're going to make an announcement. And this isn't even just with the George Floyd thing. If you were paying attention to the Mueller report, before it was released to the public, the Attorney General at the time, Bill Barr, put out his report on the Mueller report that was basically nothing to see here, folks, to cover up the fact that enough people who were sort of conscious in the periphery that this was going on would hear that, it was nothing, no big deal, and they'd forget about it. It is a classic play, as it were.
Yep. Sure enough is. So
but the good news is getting these people to talk, I think, is really revelatory. I think there's a reason they don't talk outside their circles that much.
I want to say a couple of facts here.
Sure.
About Kaya and how she does things on Libs of Tik Tok, because this is something that doesn't get talked about much. The dynamic of what happens when she posts and how she does it and stuff like that. So in the interview, she talks about, she says several times that these people they're essentially public figures because they're posting publicly on social media. And it's like, okay, so we are definitely in a new era where the idea of a public figure is not what it was for a long time. There could be some, there definitely needs to be some updating in our language and our understanding, and maybe even laws about what constitutes a public figure. Whenever we are dealing with platforms that you can be nobody today and fucking everywhere tomorrow, right? For doing nothing but farting on Instagram or something. I don't know. Because before, a public figure is someone who has chosen to be, they've dedicated their life to being a public figure. A politician, an actor, actress, something along those lines. Entertainer of some kind, musician. That's a public figure. There's a degree of expected scrutiny that you're gonna get, if when you get to a certain point of fame. And so
there's actually a line there. There's a thing called a limited purpose public figure. And podcasters are actually a great example. So I'm going to use us as an example, right?
Okay.
Something I say on this show, if someone wanted to make a big deal out of that to go after us, that would use a different standard of scrutiny for suing them for slander. Whereas if they were to go after you in your home life, or me in the grocery store, then we, for purposes of being a public figure, we're not. We're only a public figure in this limited window.
Yeah.
Because we don't have this huge reach.
Okay.
We're not going on news programs. We're not being interviewed nationally. We have this one thing we speak publicly in, and that's it.
Well, so okay, but then there's another type of poster who doesn't necessarily want to be famous or even go viral. That's something that she makes a claim in this interview that, like, oh, basically she seems to think that anybody who posts online, their intention is to go viral if possible. I know that's not my intention every time I post.
Has she ever heard of shit posting?
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. I guess it would be. I do think about, hey, it'd be nice if that went viral more often now than before I started making YouTube content. I almost never thought about anything like that. I really never did want to go viral. I would almost prefer if like only a few people saw my posts back then. And they really did. Only a few people saw them. But so what she does, what Libs of TikTok does, for anybody that's not aware, very often it is school teachers or someone who works around schools, but really anywhere that they can get. Is how it functions is this: somebody tags or sends her, or I guess her staff now, some video from someone that, and it's called Libs of TikTok. It kind of shows how stupid she is right there. It's usually a queer person. Maybe they have some kind of colored hair. Maybe it's just like a trans person or non-binary person, and somebody that just has their pronouns, or some video of some person saying to someone, "Hey, my pronouns are this or that," or something along those lines. That then gets reached or posted again. And she's, the way that she defends herself by saying that, like, look, I'm just posting stuff that's already posted out there. I'm like, okay, that's fair enough to a degree. Like, that is out there. They posted it. It's not like you stole their hidden fucking, their secret shit and posted it or whatever. But so, for example, last year, Kaya Rychik posted about an elementary school librarian in Tulsa. She shared a TikTok video featuring the librarian that had been edited to include the teacher's name in school. The Ellen Okoa Elementary School in Tulsa. So this is a video on TikTok that did not have any fucking specific identifying information until Kaya got a hold of it. And somebody, I guess, somehow, some internet sleuths or whatever figured out who this was. And then they added that information to the fucking post that then Libs of TikTok posted. I mean, that's not the same thing as just like, oh, I just reposted a thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's changing the intent of the post for sure.
Sharing someone's edit of it. It reminds me of Project Veritas in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
We're like, we're going to show you this thing that is ostensibly we're going to claim is real. But when you dig down into it, the information has been manipulated in such a way to change what is actually being said or frame it in a different way.
Well, so before we get to the video, the interview stuff, we're just going to look at a few moments from that. We've got time codes on that, so don't worry. We're not going to watch a bunch of like unnecessary shit because there is some unnecessary shit in there.
There's a lot of FAP in it. Huh. To answer Mark's question quick, Project Veritas, I think, was at this point. I know they got rid of their leader for embezzling. They were a group of self-styled conservative investigative journalists who would go into abortion clinics posing as various types of people, doctors, medical suppliers, potential patients, and then record their interactions and then edit them to create a false narrative.
They've actually been busted like several times doing this type of shit.
Yeah.
It's like they're not even good at it. They're not even good at being
they're-
fucking false, basically, yeah. It's
yeah, I know their leader was ousted over using their money to I think he got like a helicopter ride and like got
No,
money
not-
to a Broadway play.
not the kind of helicopter ride he deserves. Hey-o.
Oh, no.
No. Oh, sorry.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. We are not stochastic terrorists.
No, we're not. And also that was actually, kind of a fascist that was doing that shit. So
yeah.
Anyway, look, it's just word association. You said helicopter rides. I'm sorry.
I know. I'll forgive you just this once. Yeah, they're kind of like low rent Steven Crowder.
Yeah.
But better funded.
True. Yeah, they fabricated sources for sure. What was this gonna respond to here? Oh, I was gonna just real quick give a rundown of like just the how Libs of TikTok came to be, like, honestly one of the most tragically, stupidly fucking important things that we're talking about these days.
That's a great way to describe it. Tragically, stupidly important, because they're, yeah.
So let's see. She was a real estate person in New York. She now has she resides in California and Florida. Apparently, she's registered to vote in California. As we said, she'd been to Oklahoma once, and that seems to be when she went there to meet with Walter, that Walter's dipshit. So, and as she talks about in the interview, how she got radicalized and whatnot, but she started out. Let's see. She was a real estate salesperson in Brooklyn. November 2020, she created the account that would eventually become Libs of TikTok. And the reason that's important to say eventually is because she tried several things prior to this that was very clear that she was trying to create viral content that was not about her quote unquote concerns about wokeness and trans kids or whatever the fuck. It was, I don't remember what it was that she did before, but it was a couple of different things. And then finally, she stumbled upon this, seemingly. After attending the January 6th insurrection at the U.S. Capitol, that's right.
She's not just a stochastic terrorist.
She's an actual terrorist. Yeah.
She's an actual terrorist.
She amassed a growing audience by promoting COVID denialism, casting doubt on the 2020 presidential election results, and promoting false stories about child sex trafficking. Just the old go-tos for these chuds these days. So soon her account on Twitter was being promoted by high-profile right-wing influencers and podcasters, including Joe Rogan. That's right, I said right-wing. She received funding from Babylon Bee founder Seth Dillon, which allowed her to leave her real estate career and focus on growing the account full-time. So she got a little shot in the arm from old Seth Dillon, the head of that fucking comedy, just fucking iconic comedy outlet.
It is truly the stuck open sphincter of comedy.
I mean, they got that one joke. And
they have the one joke.
It's really like
not even very good at it.
What I imagine being a writer at the Babylon Bee is just like their challenge every day is to phrase the one joke a different way. That's it. That's your whole job.
It's the whole right. How can you tell the one joke?
Just it's like a Mad Libs, but with the one joke instead. You know what I mean? Like the functional parts have to remain, but you can just take out the noun and put this in there. No, now it's well, we did attack helicopter already like 74 times. We gotta, I don't know. Anyway,
right? Like they.
So she her attacks on, I'm sorry, on Thursday, this past Thursday, Seth Dillon, and this presumably in response to all the stuff with Next Benedict in Oklahoma and everything. Seth Dillon tweeted that he had cut ties with Rychik and that the two were no longer working together. Rychik told the Post that they'd parted ways for personal reasons. So that's kind of interesting. I'd like to know more. But anyway, we don't have that information right now. Her attacks on LGBTQ people escalated through 2021 and 2022. She advocated that any teacher who comes out as gay to their students be fired on the spot. She called out on her followers to contact schools that were allowing boys in the girls' bathrooms and pushed the false conspiracy theory that schools were installing litter boxes in bathrooms for children who identify as cats. And let me just fucking address that real quick because...
Oh, I missed that she was pushing that one too. All right.
Let me fucking...
I know you like telling this one. Hit it, boss.
Well, I don't like telling this part because this is something I haven't told you before.
Oh.
This is it came to me personally. It separate from this. I was confronted with this. So, we currently, my partner and I, we have a 12-year-old that we're kind of fostering, for temporarily, till she goes to live with her dad and whatnot. But like, so she had we'd gotten her back in touch with her grandparents and stuff recently, and she'd been hanging out with her grandmother, and her grandmother said something about the fucking litter boxes thing. And I'm like, no fucking way, man. Like, no fucking way. For anybody that isn't aware of what that is, if you might have heard,
they made a big deal about it.
The wokies are so crazy, the radical left these days, that now if you identify as a cat, you can take a shit and litter in the classroom, in the litter box. Oh my God. Does that sound ridiculous? Too ridiculous to be true?
Happening.
No, and what is happening is fucking dark.
You're right. The reason there is litter in a bucket in the classroom, is fucking dark as
because
night.
there is litter or some type of sand substance, I guess, that they've used in certain classrooms, whatnot. But like, it started in Colorado, and there's good reason for it to have happened.
There's a reason it started in Colorado,
and I guess other schools might have picked up on it. And because there's this thing that's been going on a lot, kind of frequently in the last decade or so, school shootings. And the bucket exists in the event that they have to lock the fucking doors and stay locked in the classroom for hours on end because there is someone stalking the halls with a fucking AR-15 blowing kids away. So yeah, sometimes they might have to take a shit in there, and you don't want them doing that on the floor.
Right.
And so that's why there are some classrooms that have just elected to have that type of thing. There's nothing anywhere where anybody's identifying as a cat.
Furries or kids identifying as cats. No, it is because you fuckers can't be pissed to do anything useful for any human being in this country.
Yeah, it's just,
and you would rather use your misery causing machine to cause even more misery by making a conspiracy theory about the reaction to the fucking school shootings you enable.
Yeah, I heard it from a buddy who's a teacher. Or did you hear it from maybe, fucking Kaya Rychik, who heard it from somebody who's a teacher, who really just heard it from somebody who's a fucking professional fucking shitster. Yep. So that's the truth of that matter. That's one of the darkest fucking just like little factoids about current fucking day. Now that phrase is ruined for me. Current day.
It's not like that guy's such a joke that I've just moved on. Like I'm.
Well,
I have a strong dipshit filter.
She also purported that adults who teach children about LGBTQ plus identities are abusive, that being gender nonconforming or an ally to the LGBTQ community is a mental illness, and referred to schools as government-run indoctrination camps for the LGBTQ community. Her followers skyrocketed on Twitter from around 60,000 in July 2021 to over 2.8 million today. Her posts about schools, hospitals, libraries who provide services for LGBTQ youth have preceded dozens of bomb threats, harassment, and death threats against staff, to the point where it is impossible. It's literally impossible that they aren't connected.
Right.
Because it happens so without fail at this point.
You set your watch to it. Yeah.
It's not like, oh, this has happened a few times. It could be a pattern. No, it is just the thing that is happening for sure. And then, let's see. Earlier this month, NBC News identified 33 instances, starting in November 2020, when people or institutions singled out by Libs of Tik Tok subsequently reported violent intimidation. And then 21 of those were bomb threats. The rest were just various forms. And that's the context, of her in this, before we go to this other thing.
Yep. Time for the interview.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to...
Oh,
you want to talk about that? I'm going to get up and stretch.
Yeah, well, we need a minute to do some George, and we'll do this George real quick. How about that?
Yeah, we'll do some George, and then if you want to start the interview, I have to get up and stretch and take care of something quick. So we'll do George, and then I'll go do that, and you can start the interview.
I'll do George when you get back. You do what you gotta do.
All right. I'll be back. Have fun with chat.
Oh
Everyone's
man, I gotta
saying nice things about Dane.
Gotta talk to the chat now. Oh. If Libs of Tik Tok wanted to protect children, I don't know how come our bomb threats against hospitals. Yeah, you know what? I and this is being as good faith as I possibly can to these fucking scumbags. I imagine that they're thinking that by threatening a bomb threat that they're not actually going to go through with, that they're at least going to get them to, I guess, evacuate the kids out of the hospital, which is still stupid because, like, you don't know what those kids are in the hospital for. You don't know if these kids can fucking afford to be disconnected from whatever machines that they're on or whatever the hell is happening. It's insane. Yeah. She actually was not doxxed. That's the thing. So context is important. Taylor Lorenz and I forgot. This is what I'm supposed to tell Morgan that Morgan doesn't know about. I'll have to wait until Morgan's back. She did. Her face was hidden. Her identity was not known for a while. Yeah. We'll get to that as soon as Morgan gets back. In the meantime, let's see if I got something here that's kind of special or something. I don't know. We've got freaking the trailer for Critical Drinkers movie. Looks pretty stupid. I won't make you watch that though. Excuse me. So Kaya likes to talk about wokeness, and like that's like the problem. Of course, she's not the only one of conservatives who do that, but it's really absurd how far they've gone with this word. And so this is a clip that I dug up the other day for the stream we were doing, but I feel like it's we should check it out again. I don't know. I feel it's pretty good.
Well, why are you going to challenge me to a debate and not know? Like, they obviously wanted to talk to me about stuff, but then they didn't have any like research behind it, and then you're drunk.
Well, and I think we can answer that today, honestly. There's a lyric of a song that I really like, and it goes. Is it coincidence that the craziest fools have the strongest belief that they're right? Yeah, I mean it's expressing the the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Kind of live a bit of a very walled off kind of existence when it comes to these type of things, but from what I've gathered from different pieces of media, YouTube responses, things like that.
So what he's gathered from YouTube,
how do I put this? Popular term for woke is raising perceived groups that are at a disadvantage to a higher level and promoting them more, i.e., blacks, Asians, the other races,
blacks, Asians,
the way he's phrasing it, yeah,
the gays, all that, and putting them on a plateau and making them the highlight of the conversation.
What in God's holy name are you blathering about?
All right, so moving on. Why is Jim so confident in all this? And you obviously see what the commonality is, right?
Yeah.
It's woke. The word woke is in all of these, whether or not they enjoyed it or not. They make sure to keep that word in there. And why is that? A lot of you probably are aware, but I think it's worth getting into a little bit of specifics and understanding this a little bit better, because of how the YouTube algorithm works. And this goes to speak to what Jim was saying in that clip, where He learned what he knows about wokeness from YouTube.
Kind of live a bit of a very walled off kind of existence when it comes to, you know, blacks, Asians, the other races.
And I imagine that's where a lot of people did. But what's the problem with that? So when you think about woke and you think about how like the definition for it, at least as far as how conservatives use it, is so broad and vague and like they can't even, you know, I mean, every single time one of them is put on the spot, they're like, they struggle to even put together a sentence that isn't gonna just sound like fucking gibberish. Even that, what, I don't remember her name, but the Brianna what's her name, Brianna Joy Gray had an interview with this woman who had written a book about, and like her focus is like how wokeness is terrible and ruining everything. And she asked her, what does it mean? And this chick was just like, you know, it, and then like she couldn't fucking say anything. She was like, oh, and then she even knew. She was like,
she knew that she had been gone. Hi, I'm back.
Hey, she was like, this is gonna be one of those viral moments or whatever. And it's like, yeah, man, yeah, it is.
I wonder why.
Of course, you know it is, because you know that you're fucking using a word that is just, it's a smokescreen for, you know, for bigotry is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you can't say that, but you can't define it in any way other than that. Like, so think about how vague that is, and then think about how many videos use that word and how that's become just like the linchpin of certain types of content, that word. And that people base their entire fucking understanding of society now, in some cases, around that word. And yet they don't know what it means. It's just it's a bunch of feelings that they have, and what are those feelings that they fill a word with woke with? It's biases, it's prejudices, it's bigotry.
Right. Well, that's how you get this weird, like, oh, what, you know, woke corporations. Okay, so what is woke? And you sort of drill them down a little bit. It's like, okay, well, it's like Marxism. Okay, well, what is pushing wokeness? Oh, Disney, the corporation. Yeah, they're pushing wokeness. Which is Marxism. Yep.
Yeah, they're pushing Marxism.
What?
You know, the Marxism, the anti-capitalist, and that's what the corporation is pushing.
Right. What? Yeah.
Please make sense.
Child, like, you know, I think even with like.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious that it's like the evolved, I guess, but it's like it went from political correctness to actually SJW was the missing link there.
Mm-hmm.
And Miss SJW, I think, was a little bit too revealing about what it was. I think that's the reason why it didn't last, and woke did. It has, because you know, it's got more of a element of plausible deniability about it being about being bigotry, because
I think that's
social justice warriors, you know what, social justice is good, you know.
Like, right, they've switched to like CRT or they've rotated CRT and diversity, equity, inclusion in, I think, because it's easier to say a 3-letter acronym is easier to make sound scary than like a real word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If that makes sense, that like.
Yeah, I mean, it means something. If it's an acronym, it means that there's somebody that's put a lot of organized thought into this idea, and that they're, you know, like there's all kinds of implications that people can kind of presume based off of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, so we had just gotten to the point whenever I realized that I need to tell you about this. That's the thing that we said, hold off, and I'll tell you while we're live.
Sure.
The history of Taylor Lorenz and Kaya.
Oh, sure. I didn't know. Like, I had never heard of this Taylor person until you sent me that video yesterday, and then I think Sketchy sent it to me after you did.
Well, let me. I'm gonna play a little bit more of this video while I grab a drink, and then I'll do it when I get back. But
all right, sounds good.
YouTube is not like, it's not a meritocracy. It's not like the best information is what gets seen the most. It's not the most popular information and content is always the most enlightened or informed content. Like me and Bob were talking beforehand about, we'll often get comments of somebody like, you know, if we make a video about critical drinker or something, they'll go, oh, well, he's got 1 million subscribers and you don't, so that should tell you. But like, yeah, no, it does. It tells me that this the algorithm is fucking weird. Well, Matthew, I mean, I agree with in sentiment, but it is fixed. It's working the way it's supposed to in favor of YouTube and ads. That's the thing. That's why it won't get fixed.
Anyone who tells you
it's
that
not
YouTube
really
is
broken for them. It's doing exactly what they
woke,
want.
that doesn't understand how
It's
YouTube
only
works.
broken when it comes to the effect it has on, you know, culture and society. Since 2015, YouTube's goals have purely been to help viewers find the kinds of content they want to watch to increase long-term satisfaction. Of course, we're all subject to this disclaimer. We all live in this world to some degree are watching obviously what we want to watch. That's, you know, obvious, but like
The people talking
when
about
the
it in
stuff that
chat,
you want
I don't
to
think I'm going to watch the
doesn't
live
actually-
action Avatar. I think I'm going to let that one just sort of sit. I feel like I've seen Avatar enough times. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I need to watch the live action version. If they do something new, someone wake me up, but I don't really care.
But yeah, but think about that. Like, you know, it seems like that's a good thing, right? To keep us watching what we want to watch and to increase our satisfaction. Okay. But
Sure.
that's not the same thing as learning.
No, it's not.
Being challenged on our prejudices, you know, being made aware of, you know, blind spots in our understanding of things. You know,
I think what's interesting is to increase long-term satisfaction of who? I like, if I pull up my YouTube subscription list, it never shows me because it, like, you know, if you pull up YouTube and whatever it's recommending is never what I want to watch, right? Like, it is always behind on where I am in like my watch cycle. So if like I'm in a mood for political content, it's going to show me hobby content. And then I have to track down my political news sources on YouTube for commentary and stuff on stories, sort of get different perspectives. If I'm looking for my hobby stuff, it'll show me the political stuff.
Okay, hold on. Let's let everybody let them get Avatar talk out of their system.
Sure.
I don't want to continue talking about this subject while they're just on Avatar.
All right.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. I was engaging in a little bit while you were gone, so.
And I have nothing to say about Avatar. Don't have any.
Yeah, you're not really an Avatar guy. Yeah, like yeah. I like the cartoons. I liked Legend of Korra and the first one, and I think because it's just a live action remake, I'm like, I don't care. Yeah, it shows me the last thing I watched, right? But like sometimes it's like, so back when I played Magic, it would try and show me like the quartering, and I'm like, who is this? Because by the time I saw his content, but by the time YouTube tried to feed it to me, he was complaining about some girl's cartoon show. And I'm just like, wait, I was like, what the fuck is this?
She-Ra.
Yeah, that's what it was. I'm like, Little Mermaid, no, that's too recent.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
like, the long-term satisfaction they're concerned about is not mine. It's not Dane's. It's not even the quarterings. It's their advertisers.
Yep.
That's all they care about.
Yeah, and so like the point I'm trying to make there about like the, you know, if you're someone who feels like if you're a straight cis white dude and you're like, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world that you're seeing that you don't understand, like where it seems to be everywhere now. And yeah, it's relatable to me for sure experience of like getting on the internet and then you start looking around and you're seeing wait, pronouns, what you want me to, okay. And then, trans people, and then Black Lives Matter. And then like all these things, it's like, these are not things that are like, they're not part of my experience.
Right.
So you have two choices there, you know, and one of them is to go, wow, I need to see what this is about. This is clearly something that's going to be around. People are talking about it. I've seen it more and more. What is this about? And then you, in good faith with, you know, an open mind and like willing to engage, no matter how uncomfortable it might be to learn about something, you know, you're willing to do that. Or you fucking, you know, wall yourself off and you go, this shit's trying to change me. It's trying to change the society. It's making things bad because this guy on YouTube told me they're making it bad.
It told it. Yeah. This person told me. Right. And like, And it's a person who looks like you, right? Like,
yep. And you know, so the thing is, those types of guys often believe that they are being challenged and educated and made aware and given insight into all the things that it's not actually doing, right? On
Right.
the graphic there. They think that they're getting that from these people, that they're actually being given this kind of forbidden information, like, oh, we're not supposed to be talking about how Black Lives Matter is actually a terrorist organization or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, which it's not. You know what I mean? But
no, they're being given cotton candy, right? It's sweet and it looks good, but it's just fucking empty air.
And it makes them feel like it tells them, no, don't worry, buddy. I know you got scared for a minute. You got scared that you were going to have to change something about yourself. You don't. No. Don't change anything about yourself. They're the ones that are in the wrong. That's essentially what the content is doing, and it's freezing these people's, you know, potential for growth and becoming better fucking, you know, civilians in society. Like it's making it's cauterizing that they can't grow into something better as long as they're latching onto that content and feeding themselves with it.
Can you pull up Liz Bobby's comment?
Yeah.
Because I had a similar experience to this when I was looking for the lavender scare when we were doing the episode on the lavender scare. It kept trying to recommend me a bunch of turf books, and Jordan Peterson was on there. The book with the girl who's got like a hole drawn through her crotch was on there. And I'm just like when I typed in lavender scare, these were the first things that I was recommended, and I'm like,
when
what the
Bob
fuck?
The other day, whenever we covered the X-Men 97 stuff, on YouTube, right?
This was on Audible.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah, they are really, really fucking good at cranking every platform essentially full of this bullshit. They saw the opportunity for it long before we realized the risk, I think.
Well, here's the thing, right? Is it's a tried and true model that we see. Like, this is why in the New York Times, one of the few good things they bother to do is if something breaks the bestseller list in a weird way because someone bought enough copies to put it on the bestseller list with like organizational money, they note that. They got a little thing they put there that goes, this one has an asterisk because someone was being naughty. But these other platforms don't do that. Where, like, I don't doubt that fucking Shabibo's organization is dealing out his audiobook to not only just push your own misinformation, but to obscure
sorry, I stepped away for a moment. Yeah, so moving onward to the backstory of Taylor and Kaya. So
like
Taylor is
two birds for.
Oh, you
Dang,
just cut out first.
Yeah, I think my internet was throwing a shoe.
Uh-oh. I heard two birds.
The whole like publishing thing where they pollute an ecosystem to make it hard to get real information. It's two birds with one stone.
True. Yeah. Wow. I think you are kind of cutting out there. So, I don't know. Are you there, Morgan? Hello.
Or there.
Uh-oh. Yeah, you're cutting out pretty bad.
I'm gonna close some apps. I don't know what's going on here. I think something's running in the background that's eating my internet.
Yeah, thank you, Maestro. And you're right, Philip. They are desperate. It is because of the fact that they cannot. They talk about a culture war. They've lost it on any organic terms. They've lost it. Most people generally, or at least prior to the last few years anyway, would not have gotten on board with like being bigots towards trans people or whoever. Like, you know, they might not have like been, they might have been privately hateful or something like that, but like most people wouldn't have been so arrogantly, proudly, openly shitty, except for that they've fucking polluted everything with this content now, and to the point where people think it's a legit perspective to be anti-woke, and that there's some real problem of wokeness that has to be confronted or whatever. See how Morgan's doing here in a second. Whenever
test 1, 2.
Sounds good there.
All right, I've closed
golden
a bunch of stuff, but we'll
close this out too.
The only thing I'm not sure of is, amusingly, we were talking about ARC earlier, and the FTP my spouse has for ARC, I think it's running, and I can't stop it without fucking it up. So I'm gonna ping them in to come help me to make sure I can close this. But otherwise, yeah, I think, how do I just, everybody can hear me? Close a bunch of these things. All right. Need that open, don't need that open, don't need that open.
Well, one thing is, these people spend a lot of money on advertising on these platforms too.
Yeah, they just tons. And they spend it on left-wing content or centrist content.
Yep. Okay, so first we got to do this. We got to do a George.
And you know, working on my own films.
Sounds pretty awesome. Well,
anything we can hear about yet? Anything on the? No.
They'll never be seen by anybody. They're just films for myself and my friends.
Nice. I like that.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by.
No, wait, you're not going to be in my movie, are you? Jurassic is #1. Remember that.
To crush you like a bug.
It's the one and only Digo Double G. You know what happened with...
That's why he's Darth Flannel. He don't play.
I mean, look, he knows where the bodies are buried.
He does.
I'll never tell. Anyway, so back a couple of years ago, I think it was 2021. So after the after Kaya attended the attempted insurrection.
Right.
Her
first go at being a terrorist.
Yeah. Libs of Tik Tok was blowing up that year and becoming a big thing that, like, they actually, there are conservative politicians that are now retweeting them and like so on and so forth, and using information that she has posted. Of course, nobody knew it was a she. Nobody knew who it was. No face, no name.
Right.
Until someone doxed her. Someone doxed her by going to the Libs of Tik Tok web domain that had been purchased, which is publicly available, and saw posted right there her name. And yet, you ask any conservative, and even some people that kind of mistakenly have bought into it as well. Although Fire Dragon, I think it was maybe that said it earlier, and that or somebody did, and I corrected, and they said okay, but that was the narrative from the right, is that Taylor doxed her because Taylor wrote this article in Washington Post about her and what was going on so far. And so that's why I was extra surprised when this thing dropped yesterday. Not only was like, holy shit, we're doing an episode on that tomorrow.
Right. We're literally about to talk to
like Taylor, really? Like, she actually agreed to sit down with the same journalist who fucking doxed her. Okay.
All right, we're doing this.
Yeah.
It's sort of the opposite of our episode back in early October last year about the end times and how Israel figures into a lot of American right-wing discussions about that. It's like the happy version of that story. There's not going to be I'm not going to jinx it. We're just going to end that thought there.
So here's Kaya. She showed up wearing a shirt with Taylor Lorenz, the reporter, her face on it. Now, and it's one of those, the same way that Chuds, they do their YouTube thumbnails whenever it's like the chick from Rings of Power. They'll have like a awkward moment that they paused on when she's like,
Sure.
because you pause on anybody speaking long enough, and you're gonna
It's
get
gonna look awkward, right? You're gonna
one,
find it
one
dumb.
eye is closing faster than the other, kind of thing. It's like, oh, look, I look kind of silly.
Yeah.
Sure does prove your point, doesn't it? It feels like it does anyway.
You too can edit photos. Congratulations! I'm so
Wow,
proud of you.
if you pause anything at just the right moment, you can make a person look goofy, and
Right.
man, that really makes your argument look ironclad. It makes it look like you are very confident in the substance of your position. So yeah, she wore that shirt, but actually it does kind of seem like an intimidation kind of tactic in a way.
Yeah, I would say so. It's at the very least a dick move, right? Like
To distract to whatever, and like, it seems like Taylor was not really concerned about it.
unfazed, just completely unfazed by
She's
it.
a pro. She's a pro. She works for the Washington Post, which they've are owned by fucking Bezos now, and they have made some
very sketchy articles. I don't want to.
But they've also taken down a fucking president who really needed to be taken down, as far as Nixon. So
yeah,
of course that's a very different Washington Post. It's not really the same institution anymore. Come back, 70s Woodward and Bernstein, save us. Like, I was so into journalism back in the day.
The problem there is that like you could have any number of journalists of that quality.
It wouldn't matter these days the way these people
wouldn't
operate.
matter because like
shame existed then.
Shame existed. The rule of law existed, and the Republican Party wasn't just a bunch of yes men.
Yeah, I mean, think about this. Think about the fact that there was a president, Nixon, who, like, up until a few years ago, was just universally like known as like that was a bad one. He wasn't. Yeah, that went wrong, didn't it? But like, he seems like a fucking man of integrity and honor now.
Right. He had the dignity to resign when he got caught.
He's like, look, all right, I'm caught. I'm out. Look, I've dignity, disgraced the office. I'm out of here. Okay.
Right.
Anyway, okay. So we're gonna start here where she talks about being radicalized.
This is so fucking telling.
Kids' body parts. There's nothing logical about giving kids porn in school.
So let's go back a little bit into what she says here. Just crazy shit.
The way that it makes there's nothing logical about it. There's nothing logical about chopping off kids' body parts. There's nothing logical about giving kids porn in school. There's two sexes, and that's it.
So, and this is something me and Morgan kind of briefly talked about beforehand about the language that's used with. They're chopping off kids' body parts and they're showing porn at schools.
These are not happening.
Those aren't things that are happening. I mean, it's so much a mischaracterization of what's happening that it's effectively a lie. It is a lie.
Right.
The chopping off of a body part it brings to mind specific things.
It's loaded language.
Very loaded. And then obviously we looked at one of the examples of pornography that they cite. That's one of the most cited ones. We saw it. Hey, look, I think this stream's still up on YouTube, right? So I guess we didn't actually look at any pornography.
Right. We didn't show any porn, yeah, because we showed several pages from it, and we weren't naughty, I guess.
I mean, yeah, Philip, yeah, we'll try and steer clear from any aesthetic commentary as much as possible. Although I definitely have some thoughts. But yeah, fairness doctrine. Sure. Yeah.
That's true too.
Yeah,
Sketchy, I would say if you told me that, evil is hard living.
Are you kidding me? She's 29. Okay. See, I didn't want to do that. I'm doing it.
Yeah, now you're doing it. All right.
Anyways.
But so, anything out of that, it's just based on.
I mean, so there's there are more than two sexes. There's also intersex. She actually acknowledges that, I think, at some point in this. Right? Or was that?
Yeah,
doesn't
but like she says it doesn't count.
Oh.
It's a thing, but it's not like there's still two sexes even though there's intersex, is I think her argument.
Yeah.
Which is not how that works.
Nope.
Well, this is the mindset that gets you there is that you are already correct and you will seek out things that tell you you're right rather than trying to be less wrong than you were yesterday. She definitely has a negative charisma modifier. And not the cool way.
We're gonna get there, Sketchy. We're gonna talk about that for sure.
Yeah.
She's yeah. Sorry, I had something that's gone out. We'll just keep watching. Sorry.
Lies and nonsense.
Yeah. Did you grow up? I know you grew up in a sort of a more conservative community. Did you know any LGBT?
So when she says she grew up in a more conservative community, did you look up anything on that, Morgan?
I did not. No.
Okay,
I know it's a conservative Jewish sect, but that's about all I know.
Let me find it. I was looking at it and then I lost the info. Okay.
Yeah, and Paul, to your comment, whenever you're talking about like a small portion of the population percentage-wise, but a planet of 8 billion people, it's still a fucking ton of people. Like, oh, there's not that many of them. I'm like, you don't understand how math works. Oh, it's 1 in 5,000. Yeah, all right, let's get out the calculator and show you how many people that is.
So whenever that original Washington Post article came out by Taylor Lorenz, she did mention that Kaya had grown up as an Orthodox Jew, and some people took issue with that. She would even mention that. Like, what is the point of that? That is a kind of like, that's bigotry. That's, you're harassing her based on her religion. That has nothing to do with any of this. Blah blah blah. But as is mentioned here in a minute, we'll get to it. It does matter. It is relevant, and it's not. This is not the first example of this type. Well, literally, there's almost this exact same thing happening. So,
well, it's that classic, like, it's the American assumption that if you belong to the right religion, it's politically neutral or morally neutral.
Well,
and
so in 1965, taking a trip back real quick, a New York Times reporter, luncheonette, met in Queens with Daniel Burroughs, chief organizer of the Ku Klux Klan in New York State. Little tag in from a recent episode.
Yeah, it's come up a lot lately.
And the reporter, McCandlish Phillips, had a difficult subject to bring up with his racist and deeply anti-Semitic interviewee. He found out that Burroughs' parents were married by a rabbi, and that Burroughs himself appeared to have been raised and bar mitzvahed in an Orthodox Jewish home in Queens.
Oh my God.
And when he asked him about that, Burroughs asked him, "Are you going to print that?" And Phillips said, "Yeah." Burroughs threatened to kill him.
Sure, right, because you're the head of the KKK in the state. Of course you are.
Burroughs did not carry out that threat, but the story does end with violence, because after reading the article on October 31st that year, state Klan leader hides secret of Jewish origin. Burroughs shot and killed himself. So that's the story of an Orthodox Jew turned self-hating Klansman. It's brought up in journalism classes as a case study in disclosing what a subject would prefer to keep hidden. Burroughs had put himself out there as a public figure, and his biography and his secret were considered fair game. So that, yeah.
Right.
And that's why it matters, because as Taylor will point it out here in a minute, but in case anybody wondered why that's something that would even be relevant.
Come on.
LGBTQ people growing up, what was your exposure to that community just in life prior to sort of understanding the world through politics?
I never really paid attention to it.
So you didn't have any LGBTQ friends or anything,
No.
family members?
No.
So your first exposure to the LGBTQ world was through basically learning about it through the media ecosystem?
Through themselves, actually. They would say exactly what their intentions are, what their whole movement is about. So I learned about it through watching their own videos.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. What sort of videos were you watching? I mean, are you just
All
talking
the
about the
ones-
TikToks that you share and stuff?
And tons more on TikTok. It's all over TikTok.
Yeah.
Very easy to find.
Yeah. I'm curious, I feel like there's been, especially on, my colleagues have done great reporting on sort of like this rift on Twitter. I know that you have a very conservative fan base, and in your comments sometimes you'll see a lot of commentary about sort of the great replacement theory. What are your thoughts on that?
What are your thoughts on the comments on your post telling me to kill myself?
Horrible. Yeah.
So there's a tactic.
Yeah, it's literally whataboutism.
I see it all the fucking time on my channel.
Yeah, they love it. What about so and so? We're not talking about so and so.
The implication being that, like, if someone has done a bad thing anywhere that like is perceived to be, I don't know, in my camp or whatever, whether I know the person, whether I even agree with them politically or anything, that means that this other person doing this thing that clearly we both are agreeing that it is a bad thing, because otherwise you wouldn't be bringing it up, right?
Right. Like there's this, or that it's fine, right? Like that, like they're fine with it when it happens to you.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, but I doubt that. For example, I don't think Kaya thinks that it's a good thing that people consider death threats, and it's not a good thing.
No, it's not. But also, she thinks it's fine when other people send other people death threats, just not her.
Yeah. And then this gets into the weeds of like trying to get someone who doesn't think critically to understand the distinctions here of like, look, Taylor Lorenz didn't start writing articles about Kaya Rychik just because, like, for no fucking reason, because she didn't like her hair or something like that.
Right.
It's because she made herself a public figure by amassing a large following in a short amount of time, doing a specific thing, which, as I described earlier, is harassment, putting essentially a target on, even if it's just a digital target, but we can, it's more than that really, on LGBT people, or even people that she thinks look kind of gay or whatever.
Right. Imagine, because I think we do a bad job of understanding that the internet is real. That, like, there is a person on the other end and they are a real human being who exists in the same physical space you do, but you just see them as this digital character you can do whatever with. Like, imagine Libs of TikTok as a platform. So Chaya posts that is in sort of a real way, just like going on your local news channel. And maybe you're not watching that channel at the time, but like just slapping it all over TV everywhere.
Yeah.
Putting it in the newspaper, etc., etc. It's just using the modern form of media. In the same way when we talk about, Anita Bryant doing it in radio and newspaper interviews and on television. Same shit, different media. But the tactics and the messaging is the same, and we should treat it as such. Am I dead again?
No. You're speaking facts. I'm just like I just did a deep sigh and then was looking at chat. Sorry.
Sure. Yeah, chat's going off.
I forgot I'm supposed to talk constantly.
Yeah, so that's the other thing, right? You got to talk all the time. Everyone chat.
All right.
No chat.
What?
Chaya needs to just like go back to her day job.
Yeah, go sell some real estate. Maybe she wasn't very good at it. I don't know. Maybe this is the only thing she's ever been good at, which is pretty sad. And
she's not good at it. She's just financed.
I mean, that's true. That's true.
I don't think she's good at it. I think she's financed.
And also, like, I mean, even if we do say that she's good at it, like, is that really a compliment to say that you're good at being a fucking evil hate monger who like, targets people for money and for attention? No, I don't think it's.
You're an effective propagandist. Good job. Please stop now.
Please stop. Yeah.
Horrible. Obviously against that. Yeah.
So will you come out and condemn that publicly?
She seems like she's like surprised or because doesn't even understand that Taylor is like, of course that's fucking not good. Like,
right.
Like she's like, oh yeah, I bet you're gonna come out and condemn that. Yes.
Correct.
Yes, I am. Like,
Oh, I would condemn it anytime. I'm against murdering anyone, of course.
So you're against death threats against me?
I'm a big, as somebody that's dealt with a lot of online harassment, I don't defend threatening to murder anyone. But I guess I'm curious,
because a lot of times it comes after an attack in the media, like someone like you or another journalist.
So are you saying that, like, if somebody posts something and then attacks follow, that person should answer for those attacks?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
saying that they...
Boom, got her. Like,
yep.
I mean, and the thing is too, this conservative shared thing that they all have now, where it's like journalism is an attack. Like,
right,
it ties into the whole cancel culture thing, like their claims of cancel culture, because it really just shows they do not want to be accountable for fucking anything.
Right.
They don't want you chronicling it. They don't want you fucking holding them accountable. Like, how fucking dare you? I'm just trying to fucking, create a hate mob over here so we can kill some people, and you're fucking gonna tell people about it? How dare you?
And tell the wrong people, right? You're gonna tell the people who don't want to do a hate crime about it. Yeah, I think Fire Dragon is right when they say that she likes maybe she likes the attention. I think that is a big part of it. I think she likes being in the spotlight. There's a reason she took that picture of her with the fucking USA Today and with a big idiot smile on her face. She likes the attention, but she doesn't want to be responsible for why she has that attention.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. But like, that is just what the right does now.
Yeah, that's a tale as old as time.
They play victim, and yet they are also super strong and awesome and badass. And also the left and the wokeness is everywhere, and it's destroying everything. But also it's like nobody likes it, and everybody hates this shit. And
right,
the enemy is both weak and strong.
People like you tell me that all the time, so I'm just asking if you think the same thing.
Yeah, I don't think I have said that here, but I think it's kind of interesting, I guess, in the conservative movement. There's this ideology around sort of white nationalism, which is obviously kind of a hardline ideology that's generally been pretty critical of Jewish communities. And I'm wondering, as a Jewish woman, how do you feel about sort of aligning yourself with those people and accounts? You see this sort of rhetoric in your replies, and I only bring it up. I'm not saying that you necessarily endorse that rhetoric. I would imagine that you don't. But how do you kind of think about those nuances when you're thinking about kind of the audience that you're building?
La-di-da-di-da. It's the motherfucker. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's just fucking good shit. This was 5 minutes in, and I remember I was watching it yesterday. I was like 5 minutes in, and she's already hit her twice with just like, I mean, yeah, she's got some dumb shit to say in response, but anybody that like with a critical mind is paying attention, like, yeah, I mean, how do you answer for that, idiot?
Right.
Yeah.
Some of your audience says we should.
Oh, there we go. Right. Let's
What do you think about that?
doesn't want to answer the question, right?
And she goes right to that loaded language too. We've already seen the same two tactics. She's already just like immediately back to the well, man.
That is kind of this whole interview where she's asked a question and then does not want to answer it and immediately jumps back to her note cards, right? It's the one joke, right? It's exactly what it is. It's so, well, you want to do a thing I don't like.
Yep.
Well, okay, we're not talking about that.
So there's that. We're gonna skip ahead a little bit to here. All right.
Those far right movements. So I'm just wondering, as a Jewish woman, sort of how you feel about that and your role in cultivating this.
So this is 3 minutes later, where Taylor is still trying to get her to honestly answer this question.
Right.
Let's see if it works out.
Fan base that might
Place
think
your
of
bets.
you as a minority or an outsider.
Not all cultures are equal.
Wow. Weird.
Huh.
That is a statement.
That is a statement.
It seems like the kind of statement that like a fucking fascist would make.
Yeah, the sort of people I know who say that kind of thing are always asking if you've seen Kyle.
Seen Kyle? Seen Kyle? I haven't seen him. I don't know where he went.
That's the sort of question those people who can never find Kyle, they're always asking if you've seen Kyle.
Yeah, they're like, I have not seen Kyle, see Kyle. I do not see him.
And if I was on camera, I would show how you point to where you saw Kyle. They have a very specific way they point to where Kyle might have been.
So something happened there. What do you mean, Paul? Yeah, exactly. Attack helicopters. Yeah.
Yep. All right.
The joke.
The joke. There it is. All right.
It's just so funny. It must be the only one ever said, ever, forever.
That's what Ricky Gervais thinks.
Yeah.
So I know you have a lot of concerns about educational materials and books, library books and things, especially.
They're importing people who want to destroy America, and who want to.
What the fuck response to library books was that?
I like how she doesn't want to talk Great Replacement for 5 fucking minutes, and then starts like, okay, we're gonna talk about your weird book thing, and she's like, hold the fuck on. I would like to talk Great Replacement right the fuck now.
It's like she probably, I don't know, man. It just seems like she's okay. Here's my read of Taylor after watching this. So I watched it at about the same time. I think you watched it more or less.
Yeah, I was a little behind you.
And then Danimal, a friend of mine was also watching it. He was on the show a couple weeks ago. He was watching it. He's the one that sent me the link. And I think all of us kind of expressed this kind of after watching it, like this is just sad.
Yeah.
Like there's a sad fucking. Before watching it, I thought of this person, or thought of her as just like some malicious, evil person who just enjoys fucking hurting trans people and stuff. And like, I'm sure that maybe there's some degree of that. I don't know. But I think that's not most of it. I think that a lot of it is just, she's very stupid and stunted. She's.
Yeah. Well, Bob asked you a question. Does she know that the they in the Great Replacement theory is the Jews, right? Like,
right. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Bob. That's true.
That thought has not occurred that she is in fact a Quisling, and if her allies get their way, she gets the wall too.
God, Quisling, I keep forgetting that word, and it's so good.
It's a great word.
And it's just like old that KKK guy that we did it in the 65.
Yep.
He fucking killed himself because the shame of like really, oh yeah, now everybody knows this thing that I've been able to maintain cognitive dissonance for myself,
right,
and not think about the fact that I'm actually was raised Jewish. My parents are Jewish, but now I'm a clan leader. But now that everybody else knows, I cannot hide from that fact anymore. I just have to kind of bite the bullet.
My ticket, yeah.
And it's sad because like that's really, in her case, I don't think she understands it, right? Like she doesn't understand what the Great Replacement really is, or where it came from, or who fucking propagated that shit. That's would be my guess. But there are definitely people that know about what.
I think if I had to guess, that the flavor of cognitive dissonance she has given herself is that it's LGBT folks who are the they in the Great Replacement theory that is doing the replacing.
Well, I mean, look, who's the one that's wanting to be called they them?
Oh, you know what? Okay, you know what? Fuck you.
Sorry, I'm just.
It's right there. Fucking pronouns. I put them out there.
Pronouns. They, them. They've been trying to tell us this whole time.
Yeah. God's they talk about the secret lizard people putting messages right there in front of everybody, and there I am fucking doing it. I'm gonna get my evil villain card revoked. Do you know how hard it is to get that back? And those picnics are a blast. The supervillain picnic. Oh my God, such time.
Morgan, are you a cabal?
I am on my own a whole cabal. Me, myself, and I.
You are the cabal. You're the shadow council. That's
I guess so. Yeah. Can I be the quiet council?
Well,
is that taken? Is it
I don't
free
think it's
right
taken
now?
anymore. I think it's pretty free. Yeah, but
oh, cool. I'll just get the patent on there, the copyright on that, and
someone should hit her with this won't save you, right? Your audience will put you against the wall. I mean, yeah, somebody.
This is why I'm not doing that interview, because that's exactly what I would say, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you are getting the wall 7 seconds after I do. it might be the same clip.
I
The
think
same magazine is going to be used to kill both of us.
I think Morgan could be the regent of Morocco.
Oh yeah, I could. Yeah, that's how I praise. I fucking love Morocco.
Yeah,
All
it's
right, we
pretty
should do
big.
this before I
All right.
talk X-Men.
Before we get into fucking X-Men, yeah.
Who come here and do not stand for what America stands for. So, and I think, and we see it. There's time after time after time after time. They come in, they're destroying our cities. They bring crime with them.
Man, it's amazing how much they use this language that seems to be describing like these epic scenes in some kind of movie or something that really aren't describing anything at all. They are coming in time after time and destroying our cities. Oh my God, our cities are destroyed. Where? What? I mean, yeah, there's problems in cities. There's
Right.
rampant homelessness. There's addiction. All these things, but like none of these are explained by just some amorphous they coming in. And
also, what cities are destroyed? Show me. I want to.
Well, I'm in Portland. It burned down in 2020. I burned down all around me.
You're just in the last apartment building.
That's what everybody told me. It burned down. Yeah, I haven't left to go check because everybody was telling me. So many people told me that Portland burned down that I'm just like, I'm not even going outside.
I mean, my grandma told my dad and I that Milwaukee had been burned down while my dad and I were in Milwaukee.
Yeah,
just like
no, and I went down on was it June or July 27th of 2020. I decided to go down, and this is during there was over 100 days of protests going on that summer, and I was like, I'm gonna go see firsthand what kind of during the day. I mean, I went one day to go demonstrate, and I demonstrated for a couple hours, and that's when I realized I had a foot issue, and my foot was fucking killing me, and I couldn't fucking march or anything anymore, and I didn't do it. But I did go one day, and then I went back a few days later to go like during the day, just independently to go just survey and see what was going on. This is after I've been told the city's burning down.
Right.
The fire that happened was contained to like most of the fucking demonstration that was being shown on TV. And that's the thing, whenever you see this stuff on the news, is it looks like, oh my God, that city is just overrun by, people and, protesting and fighting cops and stuff. It was like 2 square blocks downtown, and that's it. And if you go another block or 2 away from that, you would have no idea there's anything going on over there.
Right.
And then there was a fire in a dumpster. And then that was temporarily set on fire and then like shoved up against the Justice Building or whatever the fuck. And it's like that got filmed a bunch and then replayed on the news a bunch and passed around saying, look, it's on fire.
The one Target in Minneapolis that got burned down, that they think was just like some unrelated asshole. Like, I think like that wasn't even like someone protesting George Floyd's death. It was just some asshole.
Well, I mean, and in Minneapolis, they did burn down the police station there.
Well, you know what?
Sometimes that's where the shit went down. Sometimes
that's where,
price got to be paid. George Floyd should be alive, man. They shouldn't have done that.
Right. Well, and that's like, when you're protesting outside of a police station and they start using ordnance, you've escalated the violence, right? Like your job is to serve and protect and to de-escalate, but you brought out the grenade launchers. So at a certain point, like, I got nothing for you. Yeah, there's too many IPA breweries around for Portland to be gone.
That was dope. That was pretty surprising, and just like okay, fucking, I'm all for it. I'm all for fighting the cops, and this is how it was then. Of course, I kind of learned this about myself, I guess, as it happened. It was like, how long am I going to be okay with them continuing to fight cops downtown, despite the fact that there's really like the issue had kind of like, I mean, everywhere else people weren't really fighting cops anymore. There was a while there where pretty much every major city it was going on.
Yeah.
But then after a while, it was pretty much just Portland and Seattle.
Part of that was they were trucking in like the feds to do it. Like Trump trucked in more cops to make more fights because
there was that,
a
and
PR
also our mayor at the time. It was he's the head of police. Is that what his title was? But basically, it's like one of the only cities where that's the case, where like the mayor is also in charge of the police. So he had some kind of, it was all fucked up, man.
Okay.
It was messed up. But nonetheless, after a certain point, I'm like, basically, once public opinion starts to turn against it, I think they should stop. I'm just all about being effective. You know,
Right.
I'm not morally against fighting with cops because no cops were being injured. Nobody was shooting them or anything like that. It was just kind of more or less annoying them, keeping them occupied. Anyway, neither here nor there. It's just this language that they use that's like it evokes this very powerful. It's a fear response that it evokes.
Right.
And there's studies that have shown that conservative people tend to be more fear-based people.
Yeah.
It's just they're more reactive to things that they think are scary.
Mhm.
And then they couple that with they don't like to know things or understand things, and what's the way that you become less afraid of things? It's by understanding it.
Right. You either understand it or destroy it, and they have committed to the latter.
Yeah, that song that that I had clips of in that one clip where that Ben Kinney song. It's called "Wrong," and it's got some great lyrics. So one of the lines is it safe to assume that the greatest unknown is inside you, enforcing your hand? Do you feel better, or do you feel warm inside when you think about crushing the things that you don't understand?
Mm-hmm.
Fucking good shit. All right.
And they are bringing them in to replace us. And I think people from various countries, they're all different.
So, just back to the
Oh wow, are people from various countries all different?
Wait,
Crazy.
what? Hold on. What the fuck? No, I never knew that. People from different places are slightly different. Okay. Anyways, moving on.
education stuff. I know that you're interested in removing a bunch of books from libraries that you consider inappropriate. I was just wondering, out of all the books that you've sort of tried to get removed, how many have you read?
I've read a couple of them.
Which one?
So I think there's definitely some big time lying that happens right here.
Yeah.
So I've read a couple of them. That might be true. Okay. But then
is a couple too. Yeah, probably. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then but then she at a certain point here in a second, she goes from just naming the ones she maybe has read some of to just naming books she knows the names of.
Right.
And you can just tell that's what's happening. Like
Genderqueer. I've read This Book Is Gay. I've read Flamer. I've read, what were some of the other ones?
Now she's just trying to recall names.
My Shadow is Pink. It Feels Good to Be Yourself.
Imagine being upset at a book whose title is "It Feels Good to Be Yourself." I'm sure. I want to look that one up. Okay, hold on. I mean, keep cooking, but I want to look that up. Keep cooking.
Okay.
Or at least I feel like you've spoken about free speech before and the need for free speech and sort of supported Elon Musk's sentiments in that area. Would you say that you're a free speech supporter?
Yeah.
So how do you square the sort of being this free speech supporter with wanting to ban literature?
What kind of literature?
Any kind of literature. I mean, I would think
what
that
kind of literature am I trying to ban?
Oh, I thought you were just trying to say you've made an effort to get books removed from schools.
What kind of books?
Books dealing with LGBTQ people and sexual
education. No, that's
not
what I said.
Oh, so you're not trying to get any books banned from school?
That's not what I said either.
Okay, why don't you explain to me how you're thinking about this?
You just accused me of wanting to ban books. What kind of books am I trying to ban?
You tell me.
I'm not trying to ban anything.
But you're not trying to ban any books.
Who said I'm trying to ban books?
Are you trying to remove books from?
I just want to say that. Okay, so my partner, I don't know if she's listening right now. She might be playing D&D right now by now. So if either way, love you. Hope it's going well. And hopefully, I'm gonna risk it. Okay. So we have a teenager here, 15 years old, and she's generally doing really well right now, like in overall making a lot of progress and stuff. But like, whenever there are bad days and things go wrong, or she's caught doing something she shouldn't be doing, the exchanges that happen are exactly like this.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, so you said blah blah, but no, it's not what it's like getting real fucking pedantic and weaselly about how the dialogue exchange, just to kind of avoid accountability and avoid even having a productive conversation. And that kind of speaks to what my overall read of Kaya is that Kaya is, and what is she, 29 years old? I mean, it's one thing when a teenager does it, that's like kind of expected to a degree. But you're almost 30 years old, woman. You shouldn't be sounding like a teenager whenever you are trying to have a conversation with another adult about getting your views across.
So there is there's a gentleman who played Pathfinder. Speaking of D&D, played Pathfinder local PFS lodge for a while, and her reaction to trying to change the topic, and I didn't. What are you accusing me of? You're accusing me of this, and just like not engaging when she gets caught with her hand in the cookie jar, was a guy who was a retiree who was cheating at a non-competitive dice game. Like he was cheating at D&D and got caught, and it was just like, hey man. And he did this same sort of thing, right? And by coincidence, this gentleman believes a lot of the things that Chaya does here. So
yeah, it's weasel shit. Like, because she senses that Taylor is about to make her look like a hypocrite. So she's she's trying to kind of avoid that moment, that eventuality, I guess, while she thinks of how she's going to respond or something. I don't know. Who knows if she's even conscious of what she's doing. But yeah.
Libraries?
From public school libraries.
Okay. So how do you square your sort of notion of free speech and free expression and allowing all of that stuff with wanting literature removed and wanting access to information removed?
What kind of literature?
You tell me.
Porn. Gay porn.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And what do you consider?
Gay porn. Now, and we made the joke before the stream. I made the joke that, like, basically, if this is why I shouldn't be interviewing, I wouldn't be interviewing her, because if she said that to me, and because later on she does pull up an image of what she's considering pornography, and it's not. It's just another one. It's that drawing that we described earlier. It's like literally like a little curly Q, basically, is the penis of the guy or whatever.
Right.
And if she showed that to me, it was like, this is porn, I'd be like, no, this is porn. And then like just
whip
pull
out the actual, yeah. my
Um,
ad to that was like, you just go into your bag. Like I would go into my purse and grab out like a 1980s Hustler or something and just power windmill slam it on the table. No, this is porn. All right. Speaking of porn, I've got some pictures from It Feels Good to Be Yourself, a book that she describes as pornographic. So
all right, guys, we're going to look at some more porn here. So,
all right. I wonder if I can blow this up a little more. I don't think I can. All right.
Oh my God. That's pornographic.
That's very pornographic. That baby has nipples. That is baby presenting nipples. Here are some clothed people. Look, a dog. Oh, these two might be fucking.
Wait a second.
There's little babies there. These ducklings could be groomed.
Does that kid have blue hair?
They have blue hair. I bet they even have pronouns.
Oh my God.
Also, this dog is definitely groomed. Look at how well its hair is taken care of. That dog has been groomed.
The naked dog. All those dogs are naked. Those ducks too. Holy shit.
All right, let's go. What else we got? Yeah. So like, oh no, it doesn't want to load. Is it onto me? I think it's onto me.
Oh.
Yeah, it doesn't want to bring up the pictures now.
Yeah, you know what? Amazon is actually it's a pretty impressive system they have there, because it won't let me look at show a video. Like if I'm trying to watch Amazon Prime stuff in StreamYard, I got
it won't let you. Yeah, you
I can do it, but I got to trick it.
All right. Well, you get the point, right? Like this is in Dingus's mind, in Chaya's mind, this is pornographic. The dog that was groomed. All right, I'm gonna.
Okay.
All right.
Danimal's got a good thing here. Observation. Poetic. That Kaya wearing the shirt, thinking it's an own against Lorenz, but in essence, she's wearing a manipulated image to make someone look silly and draw mean-spirited harassment, which is exactly what she does as a profession and what she's praised for, but denies that's what she does.
Bingo.
Yeah. Christ almighty. All right, let me see. Let me make sure we're getting to gonna go ahead and go to 12:40 here. Okay. All right.
I have no idea, and no, I never thought about quitting.
Why'd you delete all your old posts?
It was just a one-time editorial decision. I stand by all my posts.
I guess Speaking of deleting posts, you still have a post up accusing the Uvalde shooter of being trans. Obviously, that's been debunked.
Yeah, there's a community note on it.
So why not remove that post if you're so comfortable with removing posts?
Because there's a community note. I think it's clear. It's obviously it was unintentional. There was a watermark on it. It was from a meme, an account that was going around. And I'm glad there's a community note so people know that.
Do you believe if, say, a journalist posts something factually incorrect or wrong, especially about someone else, if somebody was to say something factually wrong about you, do you believe they should remove that, or do you think they should be able to keep that content up?
Twitter is free speech. People lie about me all the time on there, and
These are not logical, rational explanations for anything. These are just these are essentially a child's fucking spinning out, trying to grasp at any fucking straw of an excuse for their behavior that they can't.
Yeah, it really is. So here's the thing about the Uvalde shooter trans hoax that she published. And she says there's a community note on it, and that's well and truly good. But if I want to, say, create a hoax about how trans people are committing shootings, I can just do the old clippity cloppity copy paste and just leave out the community note, and then you just have, oh, here is this person you believe, and I can share that with you. Chaya from Libs of Tik Tok said that the Uvalde shooter was trans, and she said this, other people have said other shooters who weren't trans were trans, or there was the Colorado shooter who said he was non-binary, just as like a troll after he did his mass murder.
Yeah. It's
So it is about keeping the misinformation out there.
Yep. It's like, it doesn't matter that she admitted that it's not true.
It's not true, right?
It's as long as it's like, it's still, this can still hurt the people that I want to be hurt. Okay,
right.
Cool. Then I'm cool with it. And yeah, and to what you said, that's true. But also, I've seen Musk stands and chuds and whatnot just basically saying the community notes are bullshit.
Right.
So like, you don't even have to repost it without the community. You can just repost that original post and say, everybody knows community notes are bullshit, but this is true. Like, where did it all go wrong?
We don't have. We mean,
get taken down. If you want, it has to go both ways.
So you believe that people should be allowed to keep up wrong information about you and have no recourse, be able to keep that up?
Free speech is free speech.
Okay.
Oh.
So I'm kind of curious how you square that with the letter that you sent this morning to V Sphere, claiming that, you were going to try to sue her for slander.
Oh.
If free speech is free speech, then why are you threatening your critics with lawsuits?
Well, defamation is different.
So would you call misidentifiing a shooter's sexuality defamation?
No, I wouldn't. Like I said, there's
No, I wouldn't. No reason for that. Just I wouldn't, because that's like, that would be
right.
bad for me. So
that would be bad for me, right? It is self-motivated. It is, yeah, selfishly motivated reasoning, right? Like, what is best for me is my answer.
See, this is a new one, and I know I'd said that it's going to be zero tolerance, but I was specifically thinking of a certain type of comment. This one I want to engage with. All right, so free speech is the interpretation that the right has been saying for the last 5 years, or at the very least, it's how we, the American public, should work free speech. This doesn't convey anything. I know you probably feel like this is something that there's no information being expressed here. This is just a bunch of fucking bullshit. So I don't know. I mean, it's amazing how the people that are just so much like free speech can't
we
formulate
the American
a coherent.
Public. Hey, hear ye. Dane and I are Americans. We are members of the American public. We disagree. Do you not think we're members of the American public?
Yeah.
Why are you framing people who disagree with you as not Americans? don't we have a right to discuss what free speech means as Americans?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I know that that's just, those words feel like you said something really powerful and true. It means say what you want, no reprisal. Okay.
No, it does not mean that. There is no freedom
So,
from consequences.
That's never been what free speech means, dude. That has never
No.
been what free speech has meant in this country. So you can fuck right off of that shit, because when we're talking about Twitter, we're not talking about the First Amendment, because that's not.
You don't
need to
have a right to
understand.
free speech on Twitter or any social media. You sign that away when you make your account.
Go read the fucking Bill of Rights, man. Go read what the fucking Constitution says. Go read what the First Amendment actually is, what it says. It does not say anything about, the only thing that it protects you from, and not even completely 100% in this case, and this is, is from reprisal from the government. You fucking moron.
Here's a good example. Here's an example I like to use. So freedom of speech is like open mic night, right? If I go to the bar and it's open mic night or it's karaoke night, and I get up there and I start singing, it doesn't matter how bad I'm singing, right? I'm there to exercise my right to do karaoke on karaoke night. But if I get up there and grab the mic and start complaining about how my ex is cheating on me and how I want to beat their ass, that's not free speech. That's you making a scene and wasting everyone's time, and the bar has the right to throw you on the street.
I mean, I would say that there's more clear-cut things. The fire in a burning theater is a really good example, because if you go into the theater or wherever and you're just like, some crowded spot and you're like, oh my god, the whole place is on fire, we're all gonna fucking die. And then, everybody freaks out and panics and runs out of the place, and like somebody gets trampled. And then there's not actually a fire. You just wanted to be a dick and get, see some people run around, get scared for a minute, right? You're being a troll.
Yeah.
Do you think that you don't have any accountability in that sequence of events, because you created that sequence of events with your words? And you did it on a fucking I don't know what the legality of the situation would be, but I am confident that it wouldn't be that you just get to go free speech and then walk away.
Yeah,
and never face
I don't think there's anything wrong. Okay, let me put it this way. All right, if Chaya here wanted to walk down the street and say the shit she says, just walking down the street, I don't think the government has the right to beat her or put her in jail.
No.
But she believes that as a government official, she has the right to do that to other people. And she is a government official. She works for the state of Oklahoma, a state she does not live in, does not have, to our knowledge, family in, that she admits to being in at one time. Yeah, no.
I love how, and also just like, it's just what the right has been saying for 5 years.
But the right says a lot of things that are wrong. Congratulations.
Especially in the last 5 years.
Right, yeah. Oh, God.
It's been increasingly more wrong in the last several years.
They're committed to the bit of being fractally wrong. Anywho.
For a long time, it was just, they just had wrong interpretations of things that were true or factual. Now it's just like their facts aren't even facts.
Right. Well, what it is it's, he admitted it, right? It's not they're not worried about freedom of speech. What they want is freedom of consequences from their own actions.
That's it. And that's it. And that comes along with, and it goes back to, maybe I do really need to revisit this. I don't know. I'll think about it more. But one of my first video essay on my channel, I guess I could pull that out and we could check it out sometime. Maybe, I don't know. I took it down a long time ago because I felt like it was not as, I don't think it was egregiously irresponsible or anything, but I didn't do as much, supporting of what I was saying as I probably should have.
Sure.
But the idea was that the main difference, like, because I was fascinated by this, like, how can two human beings come to such drastically different reads of things? And like, some people are like, I think that people, as long as nobody's hurting anybody, they should be able to do what they identify how they want, and live their life that's good, good for them or whatever. Like, and they don't want to be mean to anybody. They can't even imagine being cruel to another person. And then there's these other type of people that just all of that is the opposite, right? How does that happen? And what I came to through my own experience of like doing my trauma therapy and stuff like that, and once I came upon the concept of emotional intelligence. And I realized, oh my God, this is it.
Right.
This is the thing that like.
Well, they don't believe emotional intelligence is real. They believe emotions are feminine and bad.
Well, because the 5 things that are the things, I think it's 5, been a long time, but that comprise emotional intelligence are empathy, communication, is accountability one of them? Might be. But yeah, it's all these things that they don't
believe in.
They don't value them. They don't care. Self-awareness.
Oh yeah, they definitely hate that.
Introspection.
Not a fan.
These are things that, by and large, you can almost, to the man, so to speak, a conservative is not going to be interested in those things.
Right. Right. Well, we're getting on 3 hours. We should push ahead.
True. We're almost kind of done-ish. We got 2 more time codes. So
all right, we're gonna time. Okay, so for those who don't want to watch this, she talks in circles for the next half an hour or so.
We're going to skip ahead. We're going to skip ahead to 42 minutes here. Well, this ought to be good. Or terrible.
One of those things.
Okay, this is making a good point here. So that's, Taylor was asking her about why she's not interested in the sexualization of
kids.
Of cis kids, yeah. How like especially on the right, and I grew up in the South, and I had girl cousins who were in the pageant, beauty pageant scene and stuff. Saw this stuff play out, and I, even as a little kid, it felt weird. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, why are they're dressing her up? My cousin, who's the same age as me, and they're dressing her up to look like an adult woman. Yeah, it's pretty gross and fucked up and stupid, and it shouldn't happen the way that it happens. But yeah, she was asking her, why did she ever post about that stuff? And I don't know if we're going to get to see the part that I just thought was hilarious, where Kaya kind of owns herself. It's petty, but it was funny to me because she was like, that conservatives do objectify women a lot, and Kaya's like, I'm a conservative and I've never been objectified, and I'm just like, oh, fucking self-own.
The own goal on there would be on ESPN replays.
Nobody's ever thought I was fucking hot.
And they were right. Petty, yes, but I'm going to be a petty bitch about it. Deal.
Why would someone discuss their marriage in a classroom?
Honestly, I don't know. You were a teacher. I feel like teachers sometimes do that. I do think that there is a sexualization of children from straight couples. I mean, I know that I went shopping for a friend recently to find little baby onesies. And when you're looking for little boy baby onesies, a lot of them say, I want, where's my mommy's kids or whatever. You see these kind of, I would say, sexual innuendo on babies' clothes.
True.
I've never seen you post about that. I've never seen you post about sort of sexualization from the straight community, I guess.
I don't discriminate against who's doing the sexualization.
But you do.
Yeah. Oh.
We just established that you only talk about the one.
Man, I wish I would have gotten this screenshot for the thumbnail. Got it now. Okay.
I also, I guess, like, what are you defining as sexualization? But I've never said like, oh, look, here's.
What are you defining as sexualization? Well, what do you define it as? Because you define it as just saying, hey, I'm married to somebody. You know what I mean? Like an adult saying that to a kid is
right.
God damn, this idiot.
Born in school and the librarian is not straight. No, I don't care who the librarian is. I don't care if they're straight or gay or trans or whatever they want to say they are.
Yeah, I just think it seems. I guess I wonder why you don't focus on sort of like young girls as a woman. I mean, were you ever sexualized as a young child? No. I find that interesting because I think all women kind of experience that, although it depends on your community. But I do think that there's a focus on women and age as well. And there's this notion that women lose value as they age. And I know I hear that all the time in my comments from conservatives.
I've never once seen that. Actually.
You've never seen that?
No. I've never seen a conservative figure say that women lose value when they age.
Why do you think?
You've literally got, what's her name? Just pearly things. I mean, that's basically all she says.
Right.
You know, I mean, I don't know if anybody.
We're gonna see in a little bit that she's a big Matt Walsh fan.
Right.
Spoiler alert.
Right,
And Matt
yeah.
Walsh goes on about that all the fucking time.
Yeah, she's definitely fucking seen conservative figures say the most egregious form of that sentiment. Jesus.
I think there's such an obsession about women and ages then.
Women, I've never known there was an obsession. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah. Women and ages.
Yeah.
You can tell when she's lying almost. I'm
Yeah,
starting to be able to tell that she like
clenches.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is a notion, especially platformed by conservative media, that women lose value as they get older. You see this espoused constantly when people are talking about reproductive capabilities. Oh, her eggs
You're
are
saying
dried
when
up.
they promote like family values, like, oh, you should get married and have kids? Is that what you call sexualization?
No. I'm talking about more derogatory remarks made against women and their age. I bring it up because I think a lot of your fans seem to obsess about women and ages, and so
Okay, so Waste of Life, good name. McLeod, please do not. I know you are perfectly armed and ready and fucking, ready to go off on this and explain. This is not what this stream is about. Also, this is not the late 20th century. And so maybe until you know what part of what century we're in, I don't know,
Waste, are you like using a dial-up modem to get on this on YouTube? Because I want to know how that's done if you're doing that. That's fucking red. Anyways.
Yeah, man. Tell the 90s I said what's up.
Yeah, what's up?
And get out of here. Fuck off. Okay.
Yeah, McLeod, you're cool. You're all good, man.
Yeah. No, that was a compliment in a way, man. I was like I know McLeod's the guy that's gonna if he feels like it, he's gonna
bear. Yeah.
Let this guy know what's up. But yeah, it's not even worth it.
it's misogyny at its core, and I never see you speak up about that. So I was just kind of curious about.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm wondering like why you don't speak up about the sexualization of kids.
I don't think it's a problem. I guess I don't see as much. If I saw an example of a child being sexualized, of course I have a problem with, certain things. I will actually, I will say.
So do you think we should give kids porn in school? The images of like gay sex?
I went to public school, and in public school, at least when I was growing up, we were absolutely given literature, explaining sex, educating people.
It had pictures.
So like my main criticism of Taylor and this whole thing is just like not immediately fucking shutting down the framing of pornography. Because then that puts her in a position where she's like essentially trying to say that we got stuff that was, had pictures and stuff, but not just saying that you need to start with, it's not pornography.
Right.
I mean, we can argue about certain depictions of naked adults or whatever, and whether or not that's pornography or art or whatever. Like that's a conversation that can be had and probably will be had until the fucking sun burns out. But this is not the shit that you're talking about. It's not pornography, man.
Yeah, I get that. Like she doesn't want to turn this into a debate, but I feel like she let that particular framing go on
too much. Yeah,
too much.
Pictures of like anal sex?
Oh, absolutely. And it actually talked about condom use.
What grade?
God, I mean, I don't remember, but certainly probably middle school. I think that's when we had sex ed.
So you think like books like Genderqueer, This Book is Gay, we should give that to kids in school?
I have not read those books, so I don't know. But I do think that
another thing, the dishonest frame. There's just so much fucking loaded bullshit misinformation in how this stuff is framed. They're not giving these kids these books in most cases. Like by and large, like these are not, and they're also like for genderqueer, for example, not given to kids, not even accessible to kids not in the school library in junior high or anything like that. Although there are, depending on a kid, because I do think that you do need to know your kid and know what they're able to consume and what stage they're at. Because if a kid is at a certain stage where they are curious about, this or that or whatever, like. If they're mature enough to handle it, then it's probably just better to let them learn about something like the stuff that's in genderqueer, if that's what they're wanting to understand, right? If that's the experience they're starting to have themselves or something related to that, right? Because otherwise they're going to seek it out somewhere else, and possibly somewhere that's not good.
Well, she's once again not talking about where most kids get their porn from. And that is, she's not going after OnlyFans or fucking Pornhub or
I forgot that you sent me the pages from the porn from This Book Is Gay, so we can look at some of that porn too. Sorry.
Aww.
Yeah, we got more porn to look at, guys. But anyways, she's the way that they frame it is, once again, they're chopping off dicks left and right. They're fucking as soon as you get into class, they're handing you gay porn, and like it's this cartoonish evil fucking scenario that they're painting. If that was really going on, yeah, I think you'd probably have a lot more people agreeing with you.
So what's funny is they talk about how fast, how they're just chopping kids' bits off.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a limited experience, so this is entirely anecdotal. But the fastest turnaround I've heard of for some kind of affirming surgery with regards to anything that isn't like face things, like facial harmonization surgery, talking about breasts, vagioplasty, etc., is like 7 months. And these are for adults. And that is not counting the time they had to have in therapy before they could even get a consult with a surgeon.
Yes.
And that time period of therapy is usually over a year. If you're in a place that has affirming practitioners. If you're not, good fucking luck. If you're in the UK, your wait list to get to see someone in a gender clinic is 4 to 5 years at this point. So the idea that this is like they're just fucking chopping bits off left and right is so laughably unrealistic. They can only be lying. If they were doing the amount of research they pretend to do, they would know better. Hands down.
All right, you guys, if you're not like ready for some very, very this is gonna be some pretty graphic imagery I show you here.
Get ready. So if you're triggered by bits, then maybe
I won't lie to you. This is gay porn.
Should we give it a 10 count?
According to some fucking person that owns a TikTok or Twitter account, this is gay porn.
All right. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Oh God.
Well,
is that a
look? I'll admit I'm straight. I don't know what gay sex is like, and I readily admit this is not what I imagined. It's not at all. But okay.
That's all right. You know what? I'm not titillated. 0% titillated.
None.
Maybe there's more.
Let's see. I'm gonna close this. Make sure I don't show my goon folder.
Oh sure, right? Yeah,
Pull a voosh.
No horseplay.
Whoa. Okay, now it's getting. Yikes.
Oh, those are butt. Yeah, those appear to be butts and feet. I know some people are into feet. Those are raw feet.
So here's the description. This is just a passage I'm going to read here. When I was tiny, the idea of 2 men or 2 women having sex was hilariously funny. I ascertained at quite a young age that a boy had to pop his peen inside a lady locket in order to make a baby happen. That made sense. What didn't make sense was how 2 men could possibly enjoy making the ends of their penises meet in the middle, or what joy 2 women could garner from rubbing the front bums together. Surely the friction alone would spark a small fire. Wow, that's some sexy writing right there. Yikes.
It's a very sexy font too. Jippy Man here is like, yeah, that's a
Helvetica.
Yeah, it's a sexy font.
I mean, I do think it's kind of funny. Like, these are actually kind of fun. It's a fun drawing. They look like they're having so much fun with
this. They really do. It's kind of cute.
Dancing their little butts around. Like, but. Oh, man.
We just need a clip of you going butt.
So, Daniel, do you know if was this one that was this kind of like genderqueer in that it was not actually even available to junior high or anything like that, or what's? So, you know what I've meant to do, and I meant to let's do it right now actually, and then I'll make a video about it.
Sure.
You guys can help me. I'll consider you all producers on it. I wanted to make a list of questions that we should ask anytime someone makes a claim about something like this. Like there's this book is gay porn. So what are the questions we should ask? Is it actually pornography? Right.
I guess question 1, what do you think porn is?
Yeah.
Like what is porn? Like, what do you think pornography is? What?
Well, I mean, so I guess what I was thinking of is the questions would be for ourselves so that we know what to check to verify, right? Like, so every time it actually says, okay, I got to consult my questions, right? What do I think porn is? Does this fit that?
Right.
Is there any evidence of this actually being made available to children?
Sure. What's it published in?
Yeah.
Like, is this a textbook? Is this a 1984 Hustler? Like, what is the...
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what I said. Is it's naked people with that the only purpose that it would serve is to stimulate sexually. Because there's other things that could fall into, there could be. I mean, look, you can go on Pornhub and find like breast exams. You know what I mean? Because there's some guys will fap to whatever. But yeah, it's so that's like, I don't know.
Do you know what's funny about starting HRT?
Nope.
That's one of there's a lot of things, but one of them is that for male to female HRT, they were like, yeah, so in a couple of years we're gonna have to like start talking about the breast exams and mammograms and self checks and stuff, and I just like had never considered that before. I'm like, oh, okay, good to know. We'll get at both ends, because I still have to get like colonoscopies and stuff too. So like there ain't no winning for losing. I know that's TMI for you all, but I just wanted to share.
Oh my god, why did I look this up? Why did I do this?
I'm so sorry.
No, not you. Not that. It's freaking their fault.
Oh my gods! Why I did not see what you had highlighted.
So I think it is something that was also in personal libraries of high school teachers, and some counselors had it if kids had questions, because it's actually an okay resource and appropriate. Yeah, I agree. 14 to 18. If you think that kids, straight, gay, or whatever, haven't been thinking about sex at 14 years old, then you probably shouldn't be in charge of kids. You are too naive and fucking disconnected from what the experience of a kid is generally.
I think by 14, 15, I was the only person I knew who wasn't thinking about sex. And that should have been a clue.
Well, okay. But I mean, your experience isn't typical, right?
Right, exactly. I'm an outlier, right? That should, right. Like, oh, okay. This kid's not thinking about sex. They're not fucking horny.
And that's dude, that is actually the most excellent fucking point of all this, is like that they would prefer. So, for example, we just got a permission slip that we need to sign and send back, actually, for the 8-year-old in the house, who they're going to be teaching him, some degree of sex education. Of course, it's not going to go into, I imagine, a whole lot of detail like it might once he gets into junior high or high school or whatever. But like, it is going to be some pretty basic stuff.
Some hair is going to grow.
The primary point of it is something. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the primary point of it, is that like, so that kids even have the context to understand if someone is trying to or has harmed them, like in a way that like, if you don't know, you don't know. I mean, think about it. Like if there's this is how grooming fucking actually happens.
Actual real grooming, not
someone who the kid sees as an authority figure comes to him and says, "Hey, I got to check this out, see what that's going on there and whatever." And it's like, if they don't have the context to know that that's not something they shouldn't allow to happen, then they've just, the only thing that they know is here's this authority figure that's saying they need to see this and do this to it or whatever. And
it
there
feels
you go.
Icky.
Yeah. And it's like, weird, but it's not only that they want to, it's not only that they're fucking using this stuff to demonize fucking queer people, they're also actually harming children.
Right.
You know,
and they've devalued lessons on grooming and sex education and preventing child molestation. They're enabling more against children.
Yep.
And they're fine with that because they know what they're doing. They're not stupid. Just
and then
shitty.
Remind me, you know, I don't know if we want to go ahead and finish with the interview now, or what do you want to do? Like,
let's play her greatest, her besties, the journalist she likes, and then we'll move on to the last two segments.
Okay.
It's important to educate kids about sexuality, if nothing else, because you know I have spoken to women that were abused sexually when they were young, very young, and one thing that they've told me is that they wish that they had the language to talk about it, and they weren't educated. They grew up in I only know two that I've spoken to about this, but they've grown up in sort of societies where they weren't very educated about sex ed. They didn't receive sex ed in class. They went to a Catholic school.
That's exactly what we were just talking about.
And so I do think it's really important for kids to understand sex because, as we all know, a lot of teenagers can be sexually active. And I think sex education is important to promote, you know, healthy attitudes, healthy understandings of sex. I mean, these are human bodies. You can't just expect to send kids off.
Noted child genital enthusiast Matt Walsh.
Yeah, around 16. So 16 is included, but so is 15 because that's around 16.
Yeah.
Teen with absolutely no sex ed and then think that they can function in the world.
So we should give kids like pictures of gay sex in middle school and actually elementary school, some of them.
I guess I'm wondering what you consider that. I think.
Do you want to see a picture?
Uh-oh.
Well, I don't know, but I mean, are you talking about the ones that you've posted on your Twitter?
Are you coming on to me, Kaya?
Right. Well, okay. Momentarily, we're gonna get what is conservatives once again not understanding consent issue. I stopped counting. I'm sorry.
She's like, I don't know. Okay, let me just grab that and show you.
Let me just grab that for you. All right.
I mean,
spoiler alert. If someone says,
not...
I don't know about a sex thing, the answer is no. It was not a yes.
Jesus Christ.
I guess those don't look like what I received when I did sex ed, but I think sex ed is important because it actually helps.
So you didn't have those types of things when you were in school?
Oh no, we had sex ed.
I'm saying the images I posted on my Twitter.
Did you, when you had sex ed in school, did you not get books with graphic
with
imagery?
pictures of gay sex?
I remember, I don't remember how old you are, but I grew up in the 90s when HIV and AIDS was a big thing, and we certainly learned about gay sex in school.
So those pictures I posted on my Twitter, you had graphics like that?
I actually don't know. I don't remember, to be honest. But I do think that it's really important to
But knowing those pictures, you seem to know very well what those pictures are. Do you think that?
I don't. I've seen
you kept referencing it.
Well, I've seen you post things, but I don't
pull
know.
it up.
But I think, I guess I feel...
Because we need to put this into context.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not, because the context isn't great for you, Kaya.
No. All right, let's just skip to 5:51:30.
Well, we won't know the context, of course, because
we want to see the money shot snicker.
Yeah, I'll just see. Wait, it doesn't actually show, does it? Oh, wait, it does. Yeah. Okay, here we go.
I don't know what book this is from.
Genderqueer.
Okay.
Oh, we already looked at that. Never mind.
Yeah,
all right.
Picture of a blowjob in elementary school.
So she says it's a blowjob. That's actually the strap-on thing.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Look, is this stream still up? I don't know.
I think we're still live, guys. Are we still live?
Still up? I mean, in this case, Bob, I think that it's probably the thing to do because, like, I mean, I wish that Taylor was more up on the details of this book in particular, so that she could push back on the fact that this was something that, because if you just accept the framing that this is something that's being given to kids, like little kids, then that's probably not the best. It's definitely not the best, but yeah. All right, so now we go to her favorite, journalists.
Yeah, Chaya's besties, her favorite journalists.
Disclaimer: these are not journalists.
These are assholes.
And people evolve. As you just said, you weren't even you were a completely private citizen 5 years ago. You had no political ideology. Now you have a political ideology. You're a very different person.
So when I got banned from Twitter, you were upset at that? Like you thought?
Okay. Well, I mean, we haven't seen any single book that has graphic images in them that are used for sexual education. Okay. And you're talking about the education that you received that probably was like the classroom education, right? Whereas like genderqueer and then that other book, This Book is Gay, if those had been used for any education purposes, as far as we can tell, it was in like whenever a kid has sought from a counselor specific literature, and it was kids in high school. Okay, so like you're comparing things that aren't the same, and yeah.
Also,
But,
what do you mean by graphic?
Yeah, what do you mean by graphic exactly? I mean, and like and why aren't super specific? What do super specific images mean?
Yeah,
I'd be more willing to give this comment good faith if I'd ever seen you at all whatsoever.
Yeah,
but I
hi,
haven't, so.
exactly. New person who showed up for the first time. Let's see. You a real person? Oh, you're not a real person. Yeah, bye, Felicia. Gonna miss this guy. Shadow
Is this
Realm.
a real person though? Yeah, it is.
Hey,
that's the realest motherfucker alive, right?
That is a real whole ass bear up in the chat.
All right.
Thought that was wrong.
I don't remember you getting banned from Twitter.
I got banned a few times, not permanently, but
previous to Elon.
Yeah.
My feeling about any bans is that there should be a path to redemption, should you say. That doesn't mean that I don't think that it's in the right prerogative to ban people for 5 years, 10 years, whatever. I just personally feel like if you're going to issue lifetime bans, you should give people a path to abide by community guidelines. If you join back on and you break community guidelines again, look, that's on you. But personally, I think that, that's just my belief, and I've talked about that for years. I think that there should be a path to abiding by. If somebody says, hey, look, I know I broke community guidelines, I know what I was posting was wrong, and in sort of violating those rules, I could see tech companies allowing that back. And actually, that's what Elon has done, right? I mean, he reinstated all those people that were permanently banned.
Elon is the greatest free speech warrior, I think, of all time.
Okay.
No.
Like honestly, that ranks with like one of the most egregious things she said in this whole interview. Like, holy shit!
You're awarded no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
And look at those fucking stupid smiles she gets. Elon Musk is what stupid people think is smart, and Kaya proves that.
True.
Well, I'm trying to think what else. I feel like I've gotten through.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think we're good.
What else do you have going on?
Nothing much. I'll just continue making fun of the media like I do best.
I don't think you answered me to begin with, but what are some of your favorite media outlets?
I said I like independent journalists.
But who?
Oh.
Like some of the people I follow on Twitter have the best news.
Like who? Like who are your top 3?
I would say, first of all, I love Daily Wire. I like Ben Shapiro, Matt Wall.
None of that is actually journalism.
That's propaganda. Also, I want to say I love how the auto subtitles put Ben Shapiro as Ben Shapiro. I want to call him that now. Like that's his new name. Like that, it is now Ben Shapiro. That is the guy
Ben
on the
Shapiro?
Daily Wire is
Sure,
Ben
yeah.
Shapiro.
Yeah, I mean,
I had to point that out because I saw that when I was going through the timestamps looking for the stuff we wanted to pull out, and I'm like, that's too funny.
I mean, even like, yes, propaganda. Yes, we believe it's propaganda. Even if we're being less, biased, politically motivated, so to speak. Like we just say that really, in actuality, all that shit is commentary.
Yeah,
they're not doing journalism.
No,
like they're not. When has Ben Shapiro ever fucking done any real journalism work and like broken a story or something like that? Like
I got a controversial hot take.
Okay.
I actually think that between the two of them, and this is a really low bar, folks, I think Chaya is more of a journalist than Ben Shapiro is.
That's yeah. I mean, yeah. Because
it's a low ass bar.
she's at least engaging with stuff that's happening. You know, that she's one presenting it to the public. She may be presenting it in a very fucking
shitty propagandistic way, but like I think she's doing more.
Look, that's
something
compliment.
that resembles journalism rather than Ben Shapiro is.
That's a compliment. And you know what? That actually kind of, I for a long time I wanted to do on this show a segment at the end or something where we do like a say something nice.
Yeah.
Where like whenever we're dealing with some piece of shit, we're just like, no, okay, now we have to say something nice.
Yes.
And
I
you
think we
just
sort of had that originally with our spiritual muse until he had that license revoked by being extra shitty.
Yeah, true.
But I think we've said a nice thing about Chaya. She's a better journalist than Ben Shapiro.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of saying nice things, we should talk about some good news.
Yes.
Okay, so we're wrapping up here for the night, folks, soon. But one thing I wanted to do with this episode in particular, maybe just going forward, is getting some good news from people in the community and people out there interested in sharing good news in their lives. So I've pulled some up here.
Just real quick, just to, this interview is like if someone caught a kid that talked shit on Xbox Live and then threw them in front of a camera and they tried acting cool. That's Kaya's vibe.
Oh my god! You know what? The one thing is, I think that kid would actually say the slurs.
Yeah,
that's the one difference.
So are you wanting to end on the good news?
Well, no, I got one more thing I want to do after that. I've got for those of you who haven't heard the good news, I've received a prophecy from the god Apollo.
Okay.
Who has come to me with a prophecy that I am to share at the appointed hour.
Okay.
But as for good news, from our own Fire Dragon X, hey, they're doing a commission for me. I'm super excited about that, to get some new art here. Give Delta a rest. But they read a book, Once and Future, by A.R. Capetta and Corey McCarthy, and they highly recommend it as some good LGBT plus representation. Sketchy God Hands mentioning that some of their comics work is actually because of a trans woman who came out after her wife passed. And they're actually working to get a comics company off the ground with another trans woman. So shout out to you.
Oh yeah.
Another member of the community, who's I am not going to be able to pronounce that username, Alcoholpista. I'm butchering that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know how to say that.
And if I'm using the wrong pronouns, let me know.
And also Fire Dragon, if you want to drop your links for your commissions in chat, please feel free to do that.
Oh yeah. But they were they used to think they were bisexual because they weren't interested in sex. And so they thought they were sort of interested in everybody equally.
Mm-hmm.
And they couldn't figure themselves out. And actually what helped them figure out what was going on was BoJack Horseman. When the character Todd Chavez in that show came out as asexual. And this was actually a big influence on my spouse as well. They love that show. It is a good show. It is not for me.
Yeah, it can be kind of dark.
A little heavy, yeah. But it is pretty funny. Like
it's well done. I mean, there's nothing
against
it. It's definitely a vibe that you got to be in that mode.
Yeah. I would recommend checking it out, but if it's not for you, congratulations.
Look at that. Hell yeah.
This is why we share good news, because good news brings good news.
And what aroma is it exactly? No, I'm sorry. That's bad. I'm joking.
Boo.
Boo me. I'm booing myself.
Yeah. No. The enigma on Blue Sky is fostering a pet. They started fostering pets. And A Cab for Cutie on Blue Sky actually met their partner on Blue Sky, and they have been together 6 months now.
Nice.
I, for the first time ever this week, left my nails painted at work and went to work with painted nails all week. So that's my good news. Yep.
Hell
Arrow folks are awesome. Yeah, there's not a lot of like it's kind of undercovered. It's underreported and underdiscussed, and I really think it's a shame because it's totally valid. And I think, we as I don't know what country you're in, but I know in America there is certainly a value placed on being a sexual creature, and
yeah, I've
not
seen,
everyone's like that.
I'd seen some stuff about against asexual people before that was just like really fucking jarring to realize that people would even care. It's like okay, I mean, everybody's accustomed to the fact that there's like homophobic bigotry against gay people or whatever, but then like I guess I would have assumed that it's because like they're doing the wrong thing, when it's like if somebody's not doing anything with anybody or more or less, which that's not even really an accurate characterization of asexuality. Because it doesn't mean that somebody who's just never has sex or never has any interest in sex or anything like that. It's just much less front and center and of a priority. And yeah, anyway.
And I have a meme to share from my spouse.
Oh.
So I'll share my screen.
Please do.
All right. Feel free to pop that up.
Let's see.
So, wife, no, I don't want to go to a Star Wars themed sex party. Ew, me. First off, it's Star Trek, and secondly, it's called a Borgie.
A Borgie?
A Borgie, yeah.
Yeah.
Have a good night, Smirking Gun.
Good night, man. Hope things are going all right over there.
I hope you're doing all right.
What was
thank you for tuning in from Brazil. That's really cool. I really appreciate that. I like knowing when we've got listeners from other countries. It's cool to get people's perspectives from around the world. I really like that.
Hell yeah.
And I'm happy to share them with you. All right. Well, that is what I have for good news for today.
Okay.
If you have good news, feel free to send it our way on Blue Sky or on the Discord.
I have a couple of memes that I like.
You got
to
some
share.
memes?
One of them I kind of made myself a little bit, kind of.
Laughing at your own joke, are you?
Yes. Well, I happened to find this really funny, kind of just like out of context image of Spider-Man from some comic where, I think it's from a comic where he's just sitting there looking at his cell phone and he looks really depressed. And I thought, well, that's fun. I can probably use that for. Oh, here's this. First of all. Yeah, you're not going to believe it. Who is anti-woke, but maybe you won't be so surprised, actually, because it's Nathaniel Essex, Mr. Sinister's fucking anti-woke. Wow,
who knew?
And look, it's kind of surprising because I think it's kind of clear.
I don't even see the club on his forehead.
He's been known to use an image inducer.
Oh, there we go. It's the old image inducer.
You would think that he would get like a more handsome guy. I don't know.
You think so? But I guess you want to be low key. Not low key. Those are different.
Right. Let me get to where I'm trying to get to here, because I wasn't actually prepared to do this, and I should have been. Got way too many memes and images that I've downloaded and stuff.
If I put a link in private chat, can you share it so it's usable in the actual YouTube chat?
Sure.
I don't think I have permissions to do that. So that's in private chat. I want you to share that out while you're pulling stuff up. I'm sorry. Bring back eugenics. Oh God, Greg, don't speak that evil into the world.
So we got a bit of good news. And this was what the newest update that we were gonna have for this episode before that interview dropped yesterday. And now we almost forgot about this.
Uh-oh.
So Stripe disabled Libs of Tik Tok's account.
And
they're holding on to their funds. That sucks, man. Won't release it. I called and emailed and they aren't giving me a straight answer. Well, maybe they'll give you a gay one. This has been going on for a month.
Sorry.
Nobody has been able to subscribe to my newsletter. My funds are frozen. Wah. That's all it really says is okay.
Really, it's I'm good job, Stripe. I'm happy to hear it.
Yeah, based. And this is this is what happens. She's getting increased scrutiny after Nex's death,
right?
And it could come out that it seems very unlikely that the fight had nothing to do with the death. I just think that's virtually impossible. But even if so, it's bringing scrutiny on Kaya, and she deserves all the fucking scrutiny in the world.
Yep, and as do her enablers, because I think, like with Anita Bryant, and that's why I brought her up to begin with, is that like Chaya is not she's not a thought leader, right? And I think you see that in the interview, right?
I wouldn't put thought in any kind of label for her.
She's not a thought leader. She's at best a figurehead. There's a reason why they refer to her by her handle, Libs of Tik Tok, and not her name, because that kind of obscures Chaya's accountability. Okay. Because she's not a thought leader. She's not, acting out of some well-reasoned position. She hasn't done this naturally. It's astroturfed. All right, so this before I continue, this straw poll, I have a fight I'm in, and that there's a question in the straw poll: is a unicorn a horse? And I need you all to vote in this poll.
Yeah, I mean, Kaya is the platonic ideal of the banality of evil, and that's kind of obviously that's what I was kind of playing on with the title of the stream, the stupidity of evil, because
the stupidity of evil, which is classic.
And there's the question that I had was just is evil just the actions taken by someone who is stupid and like emotionally underdeveloped, that is reactive to things, like that, because essentially that's I mean, I guess maybe you could also throw in for different people people who want power at all cost, some type of social power or something, or money or whatever, like that could be an element of it too.
Wants her fame, right? She's getting lots of attention. She's got a job where she's paid to harass people she doesn't think are real,
right,
and don't think have value. And her views are reinforced to her by right-wing politicians in a state that refers to people like me and people like Nex as filth. But at the end of the day, she's just a fucking meat puppet.
Yeah. That's it. At the end of the day.
At the end of the day, that's what she is. And so with that, the appointed time has arrived. And now I have a message for Chaya.
Uh-huh.
Chaya, if you're hearing this, I want to share something special with you. Let's call it a prophecy passed down to me from Apollo himself in the great tradition of Delphi. When your time comes and you pass from this world, there will be no one who celebrates your life, no one to mourn your death. You will be forgotten. It does not matter if the toils of your cruel labor bear fruit or not. Those who you count as allies will only remember you as their well-used, worn-out pawn. Your family will feel the weight of your behavior lifted from their daily lives. Those who you demonize will simply move on, knowing that you are but one of countless useful idiots in a long, sad, ignoble tradition of marks, willing to do violence on others for your own satisfaction. I do not know what awaits us after death, but I hope for you it is the quiet sleeping peace of Sheol, rather than the hell of the Christians who aid you in your wickedness.
God damn. Fucking wow. Old school.
You want a raw tough guy? Then take it raw.
You know what? A few years ago, I'd be like, you're comparing me to Cyclops? I'm offended. But now, Scott, it's my boy.
He's pretty awesome now.
He's pretty awesome now.
Please pardon the gendered language here, but
Okay, you the big bad booty daddy.
Hey, thank you. I can do
okay.
both. When you're gender fluid, sometimes you're the big bad booty daddy.
Look,
It's
we don't
all
have
good.
we don't have enough time to do this. This might be a whole episode that we need to do. Maybe it can be a video, like I was talking about earlier. Maybe this can be a project that we work on, Morgan.
Yeah.
Answering this question.
That is almost, yeah, that's gonna be its own. I mean, I could give you the short answer if you want.
Sure, go ahead. What you got?
Well, is Libs of Tik Tok actually familiar with the trans community, the LGBT community? Is she familiar with the medical community? Does she have any expertise in that? She grew up around it.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Oh, that's exactly that's the most key distinction there. Is that like she?
Where
is
is her expertise come from? Where is the experience come from? Or is she just being fed things to feed people?
Well, see, that's the thing. Adam Friended is a fucking moron. Okay, I just want to say that very.
I gathered that.
He's a fucking moron who right here, what he's trying to do, he's so focused on trying to frame, queer people as being in a cult.
Mm-hmm.
That's his goal is to compare it to
Right.
Scientology. So like, but he doesn't even think about the fact that like the elements of his comparison are completely hooking off.
There are several levels of this onion of wrongness.
Yeah, good call. And
but that's just the surface level.
And then I have one more thing. Where is it? Where? Fuck. Sorry. I got it here somewhere. I know I do.
Yeah.
It's very important. Okay.
Mm-hmm. No, but McLeod, you're right. There's a lot of centrists and liberals who downplay it because it doesn't affect them. It's NIMBYism, but for human lives. Not that housing isn't a right and people shouldn't have houses and you should build them wherever there's space. But it is that sort of, those people are different and weird, and if people are upset about it, I just don't want to hear about it. I don't believe that this is worth engaging with, or both sides are bad.
Yeah. And with this one, I think this is revealing. This is a tweet from last night. Of course, Taylor Lorenz did the scummiest move possible and released the interview when she knew I would be offline for 24 hours.
How very dare the interview you did get released?
Why was she? That's so fucking scummy that she would put up this completely unedited, not a single cut that I noticed in that fucking interview. The entire sit-down conversation between these two people. Nothing out of context, nothing, framed, just right there, the conversation as it happened, and you released that when I couldn't respond to anything. I think that says quite a bit.
Yeah,
it's like,
so I don't know if this is true, but I have seen this framed as though this was a Sabbath thing, that she doesn't use the internet on Sabbath. I don't know if that's true. I don't know exactly how religious she is. I don't know if she's been seen posting Saturday morning before, but like, okay, you were offline, you knew you gave the interview. I don't know, like, also, don't you, like, you have people now, Chaya, you have people who work for you. What the fuck are they doing? You're also a bad manager of your business?
And also, is that really the scummiest move possible? I don't think so.
Remember, in Chaya's world, it's only bad if you do it to her.
And it's scummy because it is just holding her accountable for the things she actually says and believes. Yeah, with that in mind, I did do something special. I got this done to make sure that whenever we end this episode, that we end it on a positive note. as positive as just banning a fucking Trump bot, which is also it's a positive thing. But this is even better than that. Unless you had anything else you wanted to say.
I have shared my prophecy.
Well, and you know who we get prophecy from?
We do. This is, one of the many forms that the true icon of this podcast takes is the god Apollo. So we know who it's really coming from.
Who?
Bill Gaines.
Exactly. So everybody, I want you to join us as we got some new, we dressed him up a little bit more. Got some nice new clothes on old Bill Gaines. And I hope you all have a lovely week. I'm not sure what's going on. If there'll be something this week with the initiative. And then you'll see that when it happens. Just stay tuned. You should subscribe to my channel, to all the guys in the initiative and all those other channels that are in the description that we strongly encourage you to subscribe to, or at least check out and see if you would be interested in subscribing. If you'd like to, follow me as I do an experiment this week. I'm going to be doing some short, kind of exclusive-ish streams throughout the week where I just kind of look at the news of the day and maybe record a segment or something, kind of research, half maybe record something. And I'm just going to do that for maybe an hour, probably almost every day this week.
There you go. And
then Friday, I will take whatever I have collected and done over the week, and I'll present that in as the stream for Friday night. And if you are following me on Patreon, which you can do for free, and then you get the link to watch the stream, which won't be open to just everybody. You have to follow me on Patreon to get the link, and then you contribute. Like if you feedback or you have a suggestion, something to cover, whatever, you can be a producer of Friday's show. So that's how we're going to do it. Going to try it out this week. Also, I'm going to try out doing a call-in segment.
Oh, that'll be dangerous.
Which, I'm going to try it out like on my stuff, and we might end up doing that on the Shillcast or something. We're not sure. Yeah. But we want to have more conversations. We think that conversations seem to happen.
Conversations are good.
Even if they're, there's a risk of, and there's definitely going to be some chuds and trolls and stuff like that. And that's whatever. It's yeah. We'll screen the calls. It'll be fun. So yeah, follow me, patreon.com/actualfandom, and Bill loves you.
Praise Bill.
May Bill Gaines shine his heavenly light upon you and impregnate you with many happy days and joy fetuses. May your anuses be cleansed by the purifying light that exudes from Bill Gaines' eternal dragon phallus. Should you meet your mortal demise this day, go with comfort that you have satisfied the commands of the one true Bill, those being this: read comic books. Fuck the dumb shit. Be yourself. Love each other. Also, read more comics and grow your hair out all goddamn wild. Amen.
Actual fandom is not going to stop.